All right, Brendan Taylor here, True School Sports. I'm back with Mr. Custom Made himself, Rick Glaser. Rick, welcome back to the live.
Thanks for having me back again, Brendan. Little apologies to everybody tonight. You won't be seeing my face for radio only, but I got a little injury today. I don't know. I guess I pulled something in the back of my leg, and I can't even get out of bed right now. So I'm sort of like laid up. So we're doing the best we can here. There won't be any picture of me live tonight, but I guess when you guys woke up this morning, you didn't need to see me a picture of me live. You just need to listen to me. So let's start talking there, Brendan.
Well, maybe it'll help people listen to you better because you say people don't listen to you sometimes. So maybe this is actually a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, you're right. Good
Yeah,
point. Thank you.
but Rick, lots going on in the boxing world. Lots popping off right now with Devin Haney signing directly with the zone. So the Keyshawn Davis fight is supposedly going to happen now. So what do you make of Devin Haney's whole deal signing with the zone and the Keyshawn Davis fight?
Well, I think he picked the poison that he wanted. I don't think that really wanted to fight Shakur. Shakur in his mind was putting too many. He looked at himself. He's the champ, not Shakur at this weight. May having to do making it 144 was tough enough, and then he wanted. Shakur wanted a rehydration clause. He wouldn't give it to him. So you know what? This is a hell of a fight. This is a fight that I look forward to watching, and I'm excited about the fight. I'm never too excited about anything to do with Devin Haney, but I am excited because I think Keyshawn can be a little bit of a monster in there. He calls himself the businessman, but he's the farthest thing from a businessman. But that's his problem. He's definitely he misnicknamed himself. It's like Macho Camacho calling himself Macho when he used to run around the ring and hold. Jesus. So this is another misname, but I think he's a live, very live underdog. I like his style. He can punch. Now he's working with some disadvantages in this fight. He can still make 140. Okay, so he's going to be smaller. What's his name's going to rehydrate huge from 147 up. There's no telling what he'll weigh the night of the fight. Haney and Haney's got the big fight experience, which this kid doesn't have. This kid's got some experience in bigger fights, but not the amount of experience Haney has with the bright lights and all that stuff. So I give this that edge second one, and I think that I honestly believe that Haney's going to have an overall advantage in the fight, just between the size, the strength, and the experience. But I do see a path to victory for Keyshawn. I think he can be rough. I think he's a tough bastard, and I think he's tenacious. I think he's got a lot of heart, and I think he's capable of winning. Now that doesn't mean I'm not telling everybody he's winning the fight. I didn't say go out and bet your house and your
Yeah.
mother-in-law's house on this and your mother's house. What I'm saying is I do see a path to victory for him. It's not like I don't see him winning at all. I do see him as the potential of winning this fight. Whether he wins or not's a different issue. Okay, but I can see him winning. Okay, that's
Yeah,
possible.
you're essentially saying that he has the tools to get it done.
Yes, he
He's
definitely has
capable.
the tools. He has the tools. Yes, he's got some shortcomings, like I said, the physical size, the strength, and the experience of Haney. But you know what? Keyshawn's a winner in the ring. I mean,
Mm.
he's a tough bastard. He's a good puncher. He's crisp. He's got a good jab himself. He's got more of a power jab. Haney's got more of a flicking jab.
Correct.
And I think he can hurt Haney to the body. I'm not saying when I say hurt him, it doesn't mean drop him. That means like slow his pace down of the fight. Get him to stand in front of him, wear him down with body shots,
Make him exchange.
make him exchange.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I think he can punch in between Haney's punches. Haney's not the biggest puncher in the world. And I think as soon as Keyshawn gets in there, he's going to realize that more in the ring than he has since beforehand. I'm sorry, and I think he's going to really rise to the. I can see him rising to the occasion. Talking about Keyshawn, I think he's one of those kind of guys that can rise to the occasion.
He fighting up to the level of whoever they put in front of him.
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
On your Twitter, Rick, you pretty much you said that you feel like that Devin Haney ducked Shakur Stevenson, right? That's what I read on your Twitter.
Yeah, I feel that I'm not saying he ducked him in the sense that he's afraid of him. Okay, it's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he ducked the opportunity. Is what I'm saying.
Okay. Because
there's a difference. No, I'm not saying he's afraid of him.
Yeah.
But the opportunity was there, and he agreed to the 144, but he didn't agree to the rehydration clause. I mean, listen, Shakur could make 135 pounds still if he had to. He makes 140 easy. Yeah. Remember, he started out at 26, and you're asking a guy to fight him that's going to weigh 175 the night of the fight, and he's going to walk in there at maybe 147 the night of the fight. Come on. Yeah. You know, all he's asking is for you come up with this one other thing, this the rehydration clause, and we got to fight. No, he refused. Well, he didn't want to fight him. Yeah. You know, and that's why I said he picked his poison. He chose to fight this guy. Now, people are saying on the internet, because they don't understand chronological order on the internet. These people are like Stugats mentally, some of them. So if this fight would have been made when it was supposed to be made in the beginning, the WBO would have never ordered the Keyshawn fight because the other fight would have had a signed contract already. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. If it was done when it was supposed to. So people say, oh, well, Haney was going to get stripped. No, he wasn't. If he would have signed the contract in a timely fashion, there would have been no stripping. So there's your answer right there.
Okay.
So he picked his poison.
How much credit do you feel Devin should get for fighting Keyshawn Davis?
Well, it's a mandatory.
It's mandatory,
I don't give him any credit for fighting Keyshawn.
We've seen a lot of fighters avoid the mandatories and find a way out of it.
I say yes, but a lot of times they have two titles and they give up one of them. He's only got one title. He's not worth a whole hell of a lot without a world title. So, I mean, he's got to sort of stick with that title.
I hear you. But in this day and age in boxing, I mean, there's just been so many guys that have avoided the mandatories.
I give him some credit. But remember something, okay? You're talking about Shakur breathing down his back on the internet and in the business and the public's eye, and especially the media's eye. So he says, okay, I'm going to fight the guy who I think I give a better shot of beating, even though it's for less money, and take a fight with this guy rather than a fight that would be a lot more difficult to fight. I do not see Haney beating Shakur. So I don't care. I don't care what the weight is. I don't care what stipulations are. If it's 144, I don't care about the rehydration clause. I'm telling you right now, I don't see I don't see anybody beating Shakur right now that's wearing a pair of boxing gloves presently.
I think highly of Shakur too, Rick. But to kind of push back on that, if Shakur had the same belief that you have, then why didn't he just go up to 147 pounds and fight Haney?
Because he's looking for an edge, and that edge is the rehydration clause. And I don't blame a guy for looking at an edge. I look for an edge every day. That's how I ended up marrying my wife. I could have married somebody ugly, right?
It's true.
It's easier to marry an ugly girl than it is a beautiful woman, right?
This is very true.
I looked for an edge, and I found I knew I had an edge. She was dating somebody when I met her. She told the other guy about me. She told me about the other guy, and it was all over within a couple days. He was forced to bow out.
Yeah. Well, Rick, before we get into any more Keyshawn Devin, I want to acknowledge some of the fine folks in the chat. We got Sean Tatel in the building. You were just mentioning Sean on the phone to me.
Wonderful guy. Just mentioned Sean to you. We talked the other day. One of my favorite guys that I don't spend enough time talking to, or I should say, he doesn't spend enough time talking to me. But
Correct.
in the meantime, is definitely a great guy. A solid journalist, whether you're talking about boxing or NFL football. A solid journalist, a solid guy, and I have nothing negative to say about Sean, except he's never bought me a meal yet.
There you go. And I also want to acknowledge Spit Bucket Podcast in the chat. Very, very, very good guy. And Rick, Takuru Boxing wants to know from you. He wants to know straight from the source. Can you explain your bad guys list in boxing?
Who asked the question?
Talkers on Twitter. I don't know if you know Talkers. Guy named Talkers. Yeah, he's pretty prominent in the Twitter box community. He's always tweeting stuff. But
well, tell him to follow me, the rat bastard. Okay, so
Talkers. I don't know if
the
you
bad guy.
follow.
The bad guy list is done by my lists are done by a small committee of 3 people. I'm one of the 3. The other guy is a boxing attorney, and the other guy is a well-respected matchmaker. And we vote, and 2 out of 3 votes get you on the bad guy list or the good guy list, and that's the way it goes. It's not just me; it's 2 out of 3. So the bad guy list is compiled on guys that are known pricks. Either they stiff people, they don't pay people. They're not men of their words. They're just piles of shit as human beings.
Who was number 1 on the bad guy list this year?
Well, that's a misconception because I number them, but I always put in no particular order. And they says, "Oh, this guy's not as bad as that." I says, "Read the fucking thing from the beginning, you dumb bastard." It says no particular order.
Who is the standout guy on the bad guy list for you? Who do you think this year stands head and shoulders above the pack on the bad guy list? Before we get back to Devin Haney and Keyshawn.
Probably Louis the Cubist Jr., Demetrius Salita.
Oh man,
Lou DiBella is not really even in boxing anymore. I mean, they call him.
He's doing the minor league baseball now, the Richmond Squirrels and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, and there's something biscuits, the Alabama biscuits or some fucking thing.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, so make him, DiBella, he's as soft as a biscuit. What do I think? I think that the guys that are on that list deserve to be on that list every step of the way. It's just like the guys on the good guy list, they deserve to be on that list. Now, some guys are on the good guy list that I didn't vote for, and some guys are on the bad guy list that I didn't vote for. I didn't vote for everybody that's on those 2 lists.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So you got some checks and balances going on. It's not just.
Oh no, there's 3 of us. Oh no, it's always been. I've been doing it for a long time with 2 other. Now these 2 other guys have only been on it for the last 2 years. The committee, the one guy's been on it for 2 years. The other guy is his second year now. The other guy's 3 years. So yeah, I've always had 2 other guys voting in on it besides me.
Okay, well, there you go. So if y'all didn't know about Rick Glaser's a good guy list and bad guy list, now you.
But they're very popular. They actually get passed around in group texts and all that stuff. Somebody puts them up and passes them around.
It gets passed around amongst prominent people in the fight game, pretty much.
Yeah.
These group chats,
they enjoy it. A lot of people say that I abuse Eddie Hearn on Twitter and all that. But he's not on the bad guy list, and he's not on the good guy. He's not a bad guy or a good guy. He just does things that are fucked up. He's not dishonest. He's not a creep. He just does things that are fucking screwy, and they border on like why. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't warrant the bad guy list, and he doesn't warrant the good guy list, in my opinion.
Well, it's never good to be caught in between, but. Rick, getting back to Shakur and Devin, or not Shakur and Devin, Keyshawn and Devin, what does a win mean for both guys? What does a win do for both guys in your estimation?
I think it's more important what a loss does to either guy.
A loss. We'll go with loss.
Okay. I think a loss will set Devin Haney back. Okay. But you do have a way to come back. Like Teofimo lost his last fight, got played with by Shakur, and now he's walking into a world title fight. So because the spectrum is the bar is so low today, and there's not that many named fighters around today because they've been fighting on a paywall, the few that are around that are named will get right back in the picture. So it will hurt Devin, but it won't kill him. It'll hurt Keyshawn. A loss will hurt Keyshawn more, believe it or not, because he was a title. He was a champ for what? He won a title, never successfully defended it.
Never defended
blew the
it.
weight.
Lost on the scale.
Blew the weight. I think that between that, I think that that fiasco in when he smacked that poor kid around from the fighter from Philly.
Yeah,
I think he's got a lot to overcome, and he needs to win because I think a loss would set him back. Like Top Rank's saying, who needs this aggravation? I'm just guessing. I don't know this, but I'm giving you an educated guess in my opinion. What will win do? A win for Shakur will put him on top of the world. Keyshawn will put him on top of the world, and a Devin win will set him up for a bigger fight with a Shakur. Maybe Shakur will grow into the weight over the next year more, and maybe they won't have to have all those stipulations.
Okay, fair enough. Which Shakur, who I know,
hold it. Have the insults on the stuff started yet in the comments?
Oh yeah. You know what? Let's get to a few of those because you're a polarizing figure around these parts.
Jesus Christ,
Rick, you get like people other channels like, oh, great to have you. It's amazing to see you. But on True Schools, they're like, yo, who fuck's this guy? But this guy right here said, and this comment came in before the live even started. My man Izzy Womack said having that absolute hater on is diabolical, but he must be new around here, Rick, because we've been doing this for a long time, almost like 10 years now.
Yeah, I don't know Izzy, where'd he come from?
I don't know where his Johnny lately comebacks came from, but we've been here for years.
Izzy's probably the kind of guy his parents are embarrassed.
Yeah. And then to your story about how you basically took the your girl from that guy, they called you a home wrecker.
No. Time out. She wasn't married. She was dating a guy.
I know, but
you came along.
You stole her. You yanked her away from her.
I wasn't no home wrecker. She identified she was dating somebody, and she told him that she told the other guy she was going to start dating me and him, and within days I blew him out.
Okay. Oh, so you're saying it was just like we have levels in boxing. It was just a matter of levels.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to compete with me. I'm a tenacious motherfucker.
I believe you. Shout out to Hyro with the first super chat. A lot he wants to know from you, Rick. Why leave Buffalo for Florida? So no more Buffalo? Yeah, because you've announced recently that you're going to be going to the friendly confines of South Florida. So.
I'm sick of the bad weather. There's tax reasons that are better in Florida. A lot of reasons. There's like 10 reasons.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I like the culture in Florida, the mixed culture. A lot of Spanish. People from all over the world, and it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, keeps you on your toes, South Florida, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And as the Spit Bucket podcast says, Rick, there was no ring on the finger, so therefore nothing is off limits.
That's right. Exactly. And I put the ring on the finger real fast.
Real fast. Lock it down.
Yeah.
Just like Zuffa Boxing locked down Shakur Stevenson, which I haven't had you on. We haven't spoken on the channel since Shakur signed with Zuffa Boxing. So Rick, it's been a little bit of time. What's your thoughts on Shakur Stevenson being a Zuffa fighter now?
I think it was a good place for him to land. I think that they'll give him publicity that he couldn't have gotten with some of the other promoters. I think that I believe that they'll seek out the biggest fights for him. I think not only will they put him on Paramount Plus, but he'll find his way to Netflix. and I think they'll make him a bigger public figure. I'm a big believer in Shakur. I know he's not exciting. I know he can't punch, so we don't have to talk about his shortcomings. Okay, but he's a good looking kid. Got a nice personality. He speaks very well.
Yep.
He's a sensational. His ring IQ is Oscar Collazo like, is Bam Rodriguez like, is Usyk like, and is Terrence Crawford like. And he is a great fighter. I like him. I think he's a cool guy. I got nothing negative to say about him. Yes, he's not exciting, and yes, he's not a puncher. But man, is his ring IQ, his reflexes, his footwork is so nimble, and he does such great things in there between the ring IQ and his athletic ability and his reflexes that he's a dream fighter. He's a dream fighter. I mean, we years ago we watched the same thing in 25 years ago in 30 years ago in Pernell Whitaker. Everybody thought he was the greatest. What the fuck is the difference between him and Pernell Whitaker?
It's even like, I know you did a lot of matchmaking for Paul Spatafor.
Paul Spatafor.
And a lot of the same things you could say about Paul Spatafor, you could also say about Shakur Stevenson. He couldn't punch, couldn't do this, couldn't do that.
Well,
maybe wasn't the most exciting.
I will say that Paul was a really good body puncher. He was not a good head puncher.
Yeah.
He was a good body puncher. There are fighters like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yep, there are
guys that don't necessarily have that punch power, but they know how to beat you up slowly but surely over the fight.
Right, and Spatafor. But basically speaking, is I have nothing but praise. That I think once the American people come out and see him, as far as watching him on Netflix, watching him on Paramount Plus, moving him over to Netflix and mainstreaming him, I think he can become a star. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're going to see the next Canelo or the next Sugar Ray Leonard, but in this day and age, he'll be as big a star as you can make a guy, maybe without being a pay-per-view attraction.
Okay. Well, they're certainly paying him from what I've heard and from what people have been saying. Listen, apparently he's going to get 15 million a fight, upwards around that a fight, no matter who he's fighting.
Listen. To me, it's a whatever. That's fantastic for him. It fits Zuffa's budget. That's fine. It's a win-win situation for both parties, and that's what they want to do. That's fine. That's great. I like that Shakur is capitalizing on it. I like that Zuffa's capitalizing on the fact that he was a free agent and he had no attachments. And overall, I can't complain. The only one complaining still is Eddie Hearn about losing him, about losing Connor Bed, losing what's his name, Johnny Fisher. I mean, he keeps losing fighters to Zuffa, and I mean, nobody cries more than Eddie. Jesus Christ Almighty!
Yeah. Hey. I mean, I guess he seems to be one of the only promoters that maybe actually gets an emotional attachment to his fighters.
Well, the funny thing is, you said that because Bob Arum got an emotional attachment to his fighters. A lot of them.
Say that. Does he?
Oh, he did used to, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now he's old now. He'd be 95 in December, but he did. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. He oh my God, Tommy Hearns. Yeah, he got emotionally attached to his fighters, but back in the day. But now, Eddie Hearn gets attached to his fighters. Yeah, Eddie Hearn gets attached to his fighters. There's no question about that. But you know what? He complains on one hand, but then again, they're paying him. They're paying his fighters 3, 4, 5, 6 times as much as he was paying them. So either he's lowballing them or they're paying too much. What do I think? I think he's paying less than he should, and they're paying more than they should. I think there's a little bit of both.
Correct. And at one point in time, that was him. That was, he was paying, Mikey Garcia.
Right. He tried to lure all those fighters over from PBC when he got into the zone money. He was coming to America. Eddie Hearn comes to America to conquer America. I put a tweet up about it last week. You saw it.
Yeah.
Right?
I seen it.
Yeah.
I seen it. But with Shakur, Rick, where does he go from here? Like he's not fighting Devin. What do you think winds up happening? Like,
Where does he go from here? The bank.
I know we know that. We know he's going to his bank of choice. He's getting paid handsomely by Zoo Boxing, but talking about opponent wise, does he finally? I doubt he fights O'Shaquie Foster, but is it Rob
No,
next?
Shockey, forget that. That's all bullshit. One guy weighs 140, one guy weighs 130. One guy can fight what's his name for a lot of money and possibly win Navarrete and possibly win. Okay,
No,
that's
that's a
a
great fight.
sensational fight. That's a sensational fight, right? What do I think? I think he needs to dispatch of Rio Venezuela, even though I don't think it's a fight the public is saying, "Oh, I got to see this fight."
Ain't none of
But
us trying to see that, Rick. Respectfully
no,
to
but
Rao.
no. But let me explain. I got no problem if he fights him. Rio's deserved a title shot. He warrants it. And I know the public's not clamoring for it, but Rio deserves that type of fight. Okay?
You don't think O'Shaquie Foster deserves this fight? Shakur was saying he would fight
I'm
him
not saying
if he
that, but
beat Ford.
Shockey Foster can fight Navarrete for big money.
I'm not against it. I just think the Shakur Foster fight.
Foster deserves a big fight, but he's got Navarrete. He doesn't need to fight. He doesn't need to fight Shakur.
I hear you, but if Shakur came calling, I'm sure he had no problem answering the phone and taking it.
I'm sure because he still have his 130-pound title, and he'd lose the fight, and he could still go back down to 130. So yes. But you know what? That would mean that fighters should be wearing short black skirts and red high heels if that was the case.
Interesting stuff here, Rick, from our man Spit Bucket. He said that he did a deep dive, I guess, on Shakur's career, and he's losing less than one round out of every 10 rounds in his career, taking away the Edwin fight. So it's one in every 14 rounds.
There you go.
Generational talent.
Yeah, he's a great fighter. Listen, there's certain fighters you'll never hear me say a bad word about. Usyk, Crawford, Oscar Collazo, Bam Rodriguez, and Shakur. Never. Okay, just like in prior generations, there's other certain fighters that you wouldn't hear me say a bad word about. Joe Calzaghe was one. Roy Jones was another one. Certain guys were great fighters. Roy just stayed around too long, and that's a shame. But he tarnished his reputation. But in the meantime, as far as greatness, they were great.
Correct. So we got a series of super chats from man Harold. So I want to ask you these three questions, Rick. So the first one being is, speaking of Oscar Collazo, how do you feel he would deal with Anthony Olas Kuwaga and Masamichi Ibuki if he were to fight those guys, since he's moving up in weight?
I don't know Ibuki well enough to make a comment on that one.
Yeah.
I think him and what Oscar wants to make. Yeah, Oscar wants to make that fight. What do I think? I think the fight. No, not Oscar. He wants to make him with
Sandoval,
Ricardo Sandoval. Yes, I think he would beat Anthony Oscar Wagwa. I don't know if he beats Sandoval.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a good fight. I think Sandoval proved a lot in his last fight against Kenshiro, counter punching. Even early in his career, he had some pretty good wins. So it'll be a good fight. Now, Rick, we got to speak on this because Ring Magazine, and I got to bring it up. Ring Magazine is on the cusp of where is it? Is on the cusp of stripping Oscar Collazo of the 105-pound belt because he's going to move up, and this guy Brick Squad, he's a little upset at you because he feels like you're, pun intended, glazing Oscar Collazo. And he believes that you are, him and others in the chat believe that you are spewing Oscar Collazo propaganda. So what do you say to that, Rick?
What do you mean? I don't understand what the question is.
Well, basically they're saying that, you're saying all these positive things about Oscar Collazo, but he's gonna get stripped from Ring Magazine for the belt, and they feel like
if he's gonna go up in weight,
one-sided
if he's gonna go up in weight, then he should get stripped.
Yeah. I think some people in the chat are frustrated because they feel that he should have fought Pedro. We've gone through this. He should have fought Pedro Tajaron. There was also really good fights at 108 pounds, and Sandoval's a good fighter.
I don't know why he hasn't. I can't answer that question because I don't know. I never asked, to be honest with you.
Yeah. maybe I'll have to ask Oscar myself when I'm there and when I'm there at the fights.
He'll probably say, "Who's this guy he's talking about?" Pedro what?
I have to inform. That was the IBF champion. So Oscar, you can help set that up. We get to the bottom of this because people want to know.
I'll be out there next week.
Okay, well, we can ask Oscar together. The second question, Rick, is what made DAZN get PBC? And you said, I guess he's saying you said DAZN didn't want PBC
because they can get the what do you call it? Their pay-per-views. That's why they can become their pay-per-view distributor.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's it. And I guess the last
one they got a $5 million budget for all their shows. So if they put on 2 shows, it's $2.5 million. They put on 3 shows, it's it's a little over $1.5 million a piece. It's not a lot of money.
Okay. What do you think about I know he's fighting in a couple of days. What do you think about Fat Boy Steve? I think it's about Stephen Fulton. Fat Boy Steph.
I don't think much of Stephen Fulton at this point in his career.
It's clearly not the same guy. We'll see how he shows up against Liam Wilson. But I did see that he skipped the media workout. So, I mean, you can read into that what you will.
That means that he's having trouble losing weight and he's in the sweat box and not going through the motions like in a public workout.
Yeah. That's how I interpreted it too. I was like, well, he's probably trying to get as much weight as he can off of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last Oscar Collazo, and then y'all got to start with the Oscar Collazo because y'all going crazy on Oscar Collazo. But they said, wait, no.
What's their problem with Oscar Collazo?
I think people are just upset because they wanted to see Oscar Collazo going undisputed. A lot of people feel like he hasn't fought. Like this guy right here, he feels like Oscar Collazo hasn't really fought anybody since he fought CP Freshmart.
Well, didn't he? He beat Melvin Jerusalem, who's the current WBC champ, isn't he?
Beat Melvin. Yeah,
knocked him dead. Knocked him dead. I was there, May of 2023. Knocked him deader than a fucking doornail. I was there, lifted him off the feet with the uppercut, went flying through the air.
To be fair to Oscar Collazo, he did beat Jason Vezan, who was a solid puncher. But I would have liked to have seen the Pedro Tajaron fight. Or at 108 pounds, I feel like at 108 there was a lot of smoke there at 108 pounds. Like you had Rene Santiago, you had a lot of really good Japanese fighters that could have put up big money for.
The guy's been at that weight, been a world champ at that weight for 3 years and 2 months. It's time to move up.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's his career, right? It's his career. If they feel like that's what's best, then so be it.
Right.
People are gonna say what they say regardless. What else? Oh, so kind of sticking on topic with Golden Boy and Oscar. Did you see Oscar's recent comments about Zuffa boxing, Rick, on his clapback Thursday?
About what did he say about the Trojan horse?
Yeah, the Trojan horse. Basically, that's Zuffa.
That's the name that's the name of a condom company.
Yeah. Yes, I'm very familiar. Yes.
Yes.
He basically said that Zuffa is tricking fighters and that Zuffa is going to screw fighters once they fully establish themselves in the boxing market. What do you think about that? What do you think that'll happen?
I have no idea what they're going to do. I just know that they haven't so far done their same modus operandi as they did with the UFC. Don't forget one thing: there are other people running this company, running the business, other than the people that were running the UFC. There's other people there physically. Yeah. Okay, that's number one. Number two is boxing is a completely different business model than UFC. UFC didn't have much competition. You got promoters all over the world. You got to vie for their fighters' talents and pay them. Now, Are they trying to pay them, lock them up, and then put everybody out of business? Do they, have I said they want to be they don't want to be the biggest boxing promoter. They want to be the only boxing promoter. Yeah, I guess that's going to be true, but we'll see. I will tell. We're 4 or 5 years away from that, so we'll see. Hopefully, I'm going to be alive. I'm 68. Next year I'll be 69. Next April. So let's see if I'm alive in a few years. Hopefully, I will be.
I believe you will. I believe you will.
I believe I'm young. I'm young in spirit.
Correct. And
I'm 20. I'm 24/7, 365. I'm fucking relentless.
That's what they say. That's what the
Yeah.
streets of boxing say. I'm sure that's what a lot of the women back in the day would probably say too, right? That you were relentless and you were 24/7.
I'm I've had a lot of nicknames over the years. Mad Dog, the OG, the Animal. I've had a lot of nicknames over the years, but you know what? I've lived up to every one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't think is there any genuine concern from you, Rick, that business model at some point from the UFC will overtake boxing once this whole thing gets through legislation, which with the Ali Act?
You're talking about the UFC, Zuffa using the UFC business model. I mean,
Yeah.
sure it can happen, but I think we're a long way down the road from that. That ain't happening in the next short while. That's long term. Could it happen? Sure, it can happen. And if it does, more respect to them. They've done a great. If that's the case, they've done a great job.
Yeah. Okay. You've mentioned the fact that there's actual boxing people running the Zuffa boxing operation. I know
Yes.
that. You know a few guys in the Zuffa boxing,
Yes.
company. I do as well. But from your dealings with the people in the Zuffa boxing company, what could you say about just them overall and your
Well,
dealings with
I
them?
haven't done business with them as Zuffa. I did business with them the last time I did business with them when they did that show, when
The
Turkey,
underdog.
yeah, the underdog, those two shows, back last September, leading up to the big Crawford Canelo fight. What do I think of them? I think they're great guys. They're definitely, each one of them that I know of are men of their words. There, some of them are powerhouses in their own right without Zuffa. They were powerhouses without Zuffa, and now they just become bigger with Zuffa. And I also think that the younger guys over there that are in their late 20s and 30s, they're young, aspiring boxing guys. No question about it. And I have nothing but respect. I listen. I would have liked to come on board over there and help work with them and mold those young guys and make them old school type boxing guys and give them my knowledge of 35 years in boxing, 35 years of being entrepreneurial, and having a great Don King said it best, and it says if you in professional boxing, you think you're in professional boxing, you've never heard of Rick Glaser, you're not really in professional boxing. You only think you are. And you can go as Brendan, you've traveled the world, you've mentioned my name to
Yeah.
people. You take away Eddie Hearns and the Bob Arams and the Frank Warrens, my name's as well known as any, except for those guys, my name's as well known as anybody. Am I
Even
wrong?
Al Heyman.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying. Even Al
No.
Heyman.
I'm talking about the top level of guys. You take the second, all the rest of the guys. I'm as well known as anybody is, and I'm not bragging. I'm just stating the fact
Yeah.
that
People in the
that
business know you. That's definitely for sure. I mean, to a lot of
right.
boxers, because I get the questions all the time, and I've been getting them for years. They're like, Brendan, is Rick actually legit? Is he this? Is he that? And I'm like, well,
Yeah, but they're
people,
from fans. They're not from people in
people.
the
No,
business.
I know, but I have to explain to them like, well, people in the business that are actually
Listen,
in the trenches.
listen. BT, question for you.
Ask
Okay,
away. Ask whatever.
quantity and longevity. Okay, are telling signs, right? 63 clients worldwide and 35 years in business for myself. Okay, and nobody's holding a charity event for me. So explain that to me. Is that good enough for anybody?
I mean,
Thank you.
sure enough, sure enough. I'll tell you this before I get to the next question. I remember when I was there at the Floyd Schofield, was it Renee Tellez fight.
Yeah.
And Oscar came and he did the press conference. I mean, Oscar, before you even got on the podium, he came right up to you and he had a conversation with you for a little bit. All the managers that were there, they all came and they talked to you. I was sitting right next to you for most of the press conference, so
Yep.
I
And who
seen it.
who put Renee Tellez in that fight? Thank you.
That was in fact you, Renee.
Yes, it
Yep.
was.
And it
Yep.
wound up being a very good fight.
Yep. But yeah, he dropped Schofield. I was sweating. I was sweating bullets.
You almost did too good of a job. Like,
I love when people ask these questions, right? Rick,
yeah.
is it a good fight? Will the people watch on TV and pay tickets? Will they like it? Yes, they will. Okay, is Schofield going to win? Well,
Yeah.
he should win. Well,
But you
then
never know.
all of a sudden he's deposited on the deck. I go, oh my God.
Yeah, he was ready to he looked for about 2 to 3 seconds. I thought he might get put up out of there. So it was a good fight. But yeah, for those of you who asked those questions, those are some answers from Rick and
Yeah,
himself.
he put it this way here. I call that fight a highly spirited, combative fight.
Yeah. Yeah. But Rick, we'll stick with Zuffa for a second. I saw that Jail Pataya is suing the IBF.
Right. I have already volunteered myself to be a witness, an expert witness, if the IBF needs one. You know what, the IBF, I feel bad for them, and under the circumstance they shouldn't have got sued, but they did. And you know what, I don't like people suing an organization when they didn't really do anything wrong. They were getting played second fiddle, and the Zuffa is not a legitimate belt, and it's not a legitimate belt. And they were putting the Zuffa ahead of the IBF belt, and they took a burn to it, and they should. So you know what, it's a bad situation. I hope it gets resolved amicably, where IBF walks away very satisfied.
And you say you're willing to go sit there as like a witness and be on the IBF side?
No, an expert witness. No, not on the side of the IBF, just explaining the way the standards and practices of the business work.
Okay. But isn't this going to be the norm now, kind of like in boxing, that power struggle between the old guard, the sanctioning bodies, and Zuffa boxing?
We'll see, because Shakur is keeping his title, it looks like. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. All I know is I've never heard a fighter say, "Oh, I can't wait to go home to my people and show my Zuffa belt."
Well, no, not yet. That's why they're paying these guys $15 million a fight. So when do they say that?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. If anything, if it's done anything though, I think at least one positive thing I can say about Zuffa will be the presence in the sport is that, like, you're seeing the promoters and I guess even the sanctioning bodies work together. Like they're having the first unified sanctioning body convention.
I have nothing negative to say about Zuffa overall. They're doing a good job. Right. There are some things I don't like. They talked about being a league. A league has standings. I don't see any standings. Zuffa fights and 2 wins, 1 loss, 3 wins, 1 loss. I don't see any of that. Okay, I don't like them wearing uniform trunks that they have to wear. You know, like Zuffa trunks on, name Zuffa. You can't have your own sponsor.
You're not a fan of the corporate trunks, corporate.
No. I'm not a fan of. No, and I'm not a fan of. I don't have a problem with A fighters fighting B fighters. I have a big problem with B's fighting C's. C's shouldn't be on TV. When you got that kind of money to throw around, you get that many fighters, you don't need to see C fighters get wiped out by B fighters.
Yeah.
And then once in a while they put an A fighter in with a C fighter. That's even uglier.
Well, yeah, and that right there, that's counterproductive to what Zuffa boxing is supposed to be about, which is the best guy and the best.
Listen, that'll happen accidentally. They don't need to do that intentionally. But the point is that we don't need to see C fighters. A's versus B's on TV is good. I have no problem with A's versus B's. I get it. Okay, I'm a boxing guy, but we on TV that B's shouldn't be fighting C's. B's should be fighting C's on a club show in fucking Detroit. And in an Ironworkers Hall. Let's put it that way to you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, being that, as you just said, eloquently stated, you're a boxing guy. You know, B shouldn't be fighting C's. What is Berlanga versus Stephen Butler, and what is Hitchens versus Ricardo Salas this weekend? What do you classify those fights?
I would say that let's start with the Hitchens fight. Okay. I'm sorry. Let's start with the Belenga fight. I would say that Belenga is a B minus, and I think that Butler's a B plus.
You think Butler's a B plus?
I think Butler's a B plus. I like Butler to win that fight.
Ooh, okay.
Butler
Okay.
can punch.
I
Butler can
I know he
punch.
can punch, and his
Three things.
losses
Three
have all,
things. He's won 5 fights in a row by knockout. Okay, he's got confidence. Number one. Number two is what's his name's been off since last July 12th when he was smacked around and dropped 4 times by Sherrod Hamza, and he hasn't fought since. I like Butler in the fight. Butler is a real fighter. He does not have a good chin, admittedly. He does not have a good chin.
It's like puncher syndrome, kind of.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But he can punch, and he's accurate with his punches, and he's going to be in tremendous shape. You don't have to worry about him not being in good shape. Stephen Butler would not get in the ring unless he was in 1,000% great shape. He's a real pro. Now, does he have a great chin? No. Is he a great fighter? No. But he's got enough to beat a guy been an actor for a year, coming off a on the deck 3 or 4 time knockout loss.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fight where there's a lot of exchanges, so that will allow him to exploit, his best attribute, which is his
Thank you.
Power. Yeah, it's a good fight.
And even though I like Belenga as a person, okay, I think he's got a very low ring IQ.
Yeah. Well, he said he's working on it. He said, he's been in a lot of interviews. He's taking a more humble approach going into the fight. He's been saying that he's been drawing a lot of inspiration from Richardson Hitchens and how skillful Hitchens is, training in the gym with him. So he said he wants people to talk more highly of his skills and his ring IQ. So we'll see if he can apply it.
Yeah, but you can't make a guy that's got a low ring IQ have a high ring IQ. You can only make it acceptable. You know what I mean? Not exceptional, just acceptable. Like, okay, so his ring IQ is no longer bad, but it ain't good either.
Yeah, at some point, a fighter reaches a point in his career where he is what he is.
Yeah, everybody reaches their water level of incompetency.
Correct. So you got Stephen Butler upset in that fight.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is Salas versus Hitchens? Is that A versus B, or is it B versus B?
That's A versus B plus.
Okay. Hitchens being the A, of course. Is Hitchens be the A, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, Salas holds a good win.
No, he beat Roman Villa. He beat Jesus Saracho his last fight. Those were good wins.
Yeah. He's no joke.
Yeah. I like that fight. Okay. Fair enough. I can't wait to hear your response on this one. In this whole week of boxing, one of your favorite fighters is returning to the ring. You got your boy, my boy too, Demetrius Andrade. Returning back on CES Boxing. Jimmy Birchfield and them on the zone. What do you make of the return of Andrade?
I think everybody should get their money back for their tickets before the fight even starts.
Oh man. There's
a fighter. There's a fighter to me. He's completely useless. He's awful to watch. He's a complainer. He's a bellyacher. Oh God, not my cup of tea.
It never has been. That much I do know. But speaking of other fighters, what was your take on Frank Martin signing with Top Rank? That one kind of took me by surprise.
I think it not really signing fighters like that. Because he's going to make if Delgado, their Mexican Olympian, beats Arthur Blesnov for the vacant IBF title, that'll be a natural fight for them to put Frank Martin in with what do you call it? But the other coin flip is that Arthur Blesnov's a tough motherfucker.
Chesney and Wolf don't play around, man. He's good.
No. Yeah, Keith Conley and I used to have him. We gave him up about it's been a while now. We had him since.
Why did you give him up? He was such a good talent.
We couldn't get anybody to sign him, and the only guy that wanted to sign him was the guy in Montreal for peanuts, and there wasn't any more. Yeah, it was just Keith just said, "Rick, we don't need the aggravation." Even though Chechen Wolf's not aggravation, it just didn't fit. You
Now
know,
there.
we tried. We had him with Eddie Hearn for a little while. We had him with Probellum. Probellum went out.
Yep.
We didn't have anything for him.
So sometimes things just they just run their course.
All right. Sometimes you're better off being the manager of a fighter. Sometimes you're better off being the promoter of a fighter. You know,
Correct.
and we were caught between. We didn't have anything for him.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm still surprised that Frank Martin signed with Top Rank because I remember when I was out there at the Boots Zayas fight, I was talking to a lot of the Top Rank staff, and they were expressing some of their frustrations to me about Top Rank and how they've cut so many fighters. So I
Yeah,
just
but
did.
now,
Frank didn't strike me as a guy that was a big enough money
no, but
guy or big enough name
he's
to sign. He's not a former
no, but
champion. He's not a.
he's a piece. He's a piece. He's a piece to the whole puzzle for that. Yes.
Yes, well, as like a potential Keyshawn Davis opponent or something
No,
like that, or
well, no, because Keyshawn's at 47 now, and Frank won't go over 40. But Frank's a great kid. Let me tell you,
I like
he's a
Frank.
great kid, wonderful kid. I nothing but respect for Frank. I hope he does well. I hope he's found a home at Top Rank. He was listen, as I said at a winning call. He smartly left PBC. I says Frank the Ghost Martin Ghost PBC, and I think it was a good move on his part.
Yeah, so maybe who's there? Who do they even have? So you said Delgado and what? Vyaroslav is a potential opponent for him.
No, well, but Bolesnov is a potential opponent because they have a good relationship.
Uh,
I the Tiger and
Tiger.
Top Rank. So no matter who wins, they'll probably end up fighting the winner.
Okay, well in that
And then
case,
Bolesnov, he'll fight anybody. He doesn't give a shit. He can.
uh,
He's a Baturbiev type of guy. He's one of those Chechens, and he's strong as death. He's tenacious. He's left-handed. He's a power puncher. I mean, he's really, really a good fighter. I have nothing negative to say about the kid. Great kid too, by the way.
no, I remember I had a chance to cover his fight with Tank, and I had a chance to talk to him a bit. He was really cool to deal with. I like Frank Martin. Good dude. What else is there? Oh, I didn't even ask you about Teofimo Lopez. He did the exclusive deal with the Zone. Actually before Devin. What do you make of that for him? And also
Well,
what do you make?
I'll give you a sidebar. The attorney for the manager of Teofimo, the co-manager of Teofimo
Keith Conley.
is Keith Conley, and the lawyer is Greg Smith out of L.A. And Greg Smith's the lawyer for the Haney. So fit two and two together.
And then boom, potential big fight.
Yep.
What does what does fighters getting these these deals directly with the Zone in this marketplace? What does it mean for boxing long term? What do you think it means for boxing long?
We'll see. It's too early to tell. Again, you asked me about Zuffa. It's too early. But what do I think? I think they're trying to cut out the promoters and make the promoters glorified site coordinators.
Okay. All right. What else? Oh, William Zepeda, Lamont Roach. You're gonna be there, correct?
Yeah, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely gonna be there.
I'd be concerned if they do the show without you.
What do you think about that fight, Rick? And could the winner of that fight actually be a Shakur Stevenson opponent or an Abdullah Mason opponent or Murataya?
I think that between the winner of that fight and the winner of Floyd Schofield and Lucas Body, they're all going to be in a great position. Now, mind you, if Williams and Pay is with Golden Boy, if he wins and Schofield wins, who's with Golden Boy, that's a big fight for a unification fight, a WBA and WBC elimination bout. I mean a unification bout. So I think that if they both win, that's a fight you could almost definitely see.
Yeah, it's an easy. It should be an easy in-house fight to make with both of them being with Golden Boy.
Correct.
Okay. And then I know the other day we had Diego Pacheco beat Emmanuel Alim. He's the first guy to stop Emmanuel Alim roughly 8 or 9 years. First fight, Buddy McGirt. What do you make of that fight, Rick? And did it do anything to change your perception of him against the top guys at 68?
I think it's going to take more fights than one fight for Buddy to get him in the Buddy system. The jab, better jab, more defense. Use the jab, and as a range five. Besides just as a stick, a scoring stick to be able to shortfall the jab to come over the top with the right hand. Like we had that thing when we were talking about Tiger Johnson, where his jab was so good he was knocking the guy out of range.
Yep.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Pachenko does that same thing as often as Tiger does it, but he does it too. And they're not finding the right hand, the power punch, because they've knocked them out of the way with the jab.
Correct. So
I think that Buddy's going to work with him, and I think it's going to take like 2 more fights for Buddy to really, really. Not that Buddy's not capable; he is capable, but the kid's got to pick it up too.
He did stop Aleem, who Lester Martinez didn't stop. You don't think that was at least a minor statement?
No, it was just not really, because he was just more of a funnel because of the size, the physical size, the height and reach. And he caught him at the end of his punches. It's a little bit different style because Lester Martinez is shorter, his arms aren't as long. Yeah, so it's not a fair comparison.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I've always been relatively high on Pacheco, and I still do think he's going to be a world champion. So I liked what I saw.
Well, with 4 world champions per weight class these days, yeah, I think he can become a world champ too. Yes, I do.
But I think he could be. I think he could be some of the guys with the belts.
Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think?
Him against Hamza. I think he beats Hamza.
You think he beats Hamza
on points?
Oh my God!
Yeah, he's gonna beat him on points.
Oof.
Hamza's good. Hamza's good. I know people are really high on him because of the fight against Berlanga. But for me, I think Hamza. I think that for me, the jury's still out on Hamza. I remember the Adames fight, and I know you can say
don't go off the Adames fight because it was 160. It was weight trade. Couldn't make the weight no more. You can't go by that fight. Trust me. I know these things. That's what makes me the guy that I am.
If I don't go off of the Adames fight, and let's just say I go off of the Berlanga fight, even in the early rounds of that fight, defensively speaking and range wise, there's still some things that there's holes there that I think Diego will exploit when they fight.
I think it's the other way around.
It could be. It could be. I think it's an awesome fight.
That's why they're fighting, because you and I are fighting.
Someone's got to be right. Someone's got to be wrong. So I hope
that's right.
I think Diego maybe one more camp with Buddy McGirt, and I think he should be ready for a guy like
okay.
Hamza.
There you go.
Yeah, one more fight, and he could be all right. Because
he may never be ready for Hamza.
Okay, well, Rick, what do you see in Hamza that maybe I'm not seeing? What is it about Hamza do you think makes
fast hands, powerful punches, good footwork, high ring IQ, a little bit of everything?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And what Andy Lee as well, helping him punch through the target, is that part of the equation as well?
Yeah. Andy Lee is no joke.
Yeah. No, Andy Lee's a great coach. Great coach, comes from that Kronk lineage, so we know what that's about.
Yeah. The gypsy Kronk lineage.
It's like in the NFL they got the Bill Belichick coaching tree. They got the gypsy Kronk lineage.
Right.
Yeah. Let me see. Last thing I'll ask you about, Rick, and then we could probably get to some of the comments is you got Tim Tszyu and Earl Spence. I know they're fighting in roughly less than 2 days from now. You got any final thoughts?
Everybody's impressed. Everybody's impressed with watching Earl throw his arms out there. They ain't looking at his leg. The motherfucker's shot. Shotsky.
Yeah. Well, what about Tim though? Tim's been in some wars. He beat him up.
Tim's halfway between back nine and shot, and Spence is what they call Gonzo. He's the last. He's in
the clubhouse?
No, he's Gonzo. He's completely shot. He should be in the clubhouse. He shouldn't have come out of the clubhouse after the fucking after the Crawford debacle.
Well, hey, so I guess he got that itch again, and he wants to go ahead and try and scratch it with this Tim Tszyu fight. So we're going to see how it goes.
Yep.
But we reached about the hour mark. I done ran through like everything I wanted to ask you about. But you got any stories or anything you want to add?
No, I'm good tonight. I'm real
You
good.
good?
I'm looking
Well, you know
forward to
what?
all the boxing this weekend.
Yeah, I missed some comments. But a lot of people they're well, I got a super chat actually. My man, nobody says what's next for Edwin De Los Santos. They want to know what do you feel is next for him.
Hopefully retirement. Didn't you just get left dead from 2 rounds?
Yeah, Rao knocked him dead.
Yeah. I
It was
mean,
a
it's
tough
over. It's
it was
over.
it was a tough night for Brian Norman Jr.'s new throwback boxing promotions.
It was who? What?
You know, Brian Norman Jr. He started his promotional company, Throwback Boxing Promotions, with
Oh yeah.
Jolene Mizone and all them. So I'm pretty sure that was the
Yeah, that
apart from
was their
him
first
fighting,
signing.
that was the
Yes,
first.
big time signing. He was on the deck in 2 rounds and never got up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else is left for him. You know, he hasn't fought much. He's not necessarily a guy that people are running to fight. Southpaw can punch.
And what's left for him? Impregnating women.
I mean, for all of us under a certain age, that's really all there is to do. That's the whole
That's
point
right.
of life. uh, my man Paul wants to know if Rick, or he, I don't know if it's a question, but he says Rick Glaser helped Don King get Juan Diaz from main events. Is that true?
Yes. Who
I,
said that?
Paul
Stotek?
Sotek, yeah.
Yeah, Paul's from Buffalo. Yes, I took him from main events to Don King. I was
And
the
wait,
I was the architect of that deal.
and I would assume you've talked to Juan Diaz, right, yourself?
Yeah. Well, but
I,
at the time, yes, of course. But
yeah,
I dealt with his lawyer at the time, Levin, and his manager Willie Savannah, who's now both are now deceased.
I wish I knew that. I never knew that. Then this whole time I've known you, I wish I knew that because I seen Juan Diaz at the WBA convention, and then I just seen him at which fight was it? I think it was the Benavidez Zotto fight. He was there in the NGN Grand Media Room. So next time I see Juan Diaz, I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up and see what he tells me.
Yeah, tell him that I went to Willie and Savannah and Levin, and we got the job done. He knows that. It's not a secret.
Okay, good to know. See,
He didn't pay me. Don did.
yeah, okay. My man Donnie says Zuffa Boxing 9 is being shown on Unex in Japan. Is that a big deal? So I guess it's a question for me. Yes, it is a big deal. Unex does a lot of big shows. They just it's like a the Zone streaming platform, but in Japan. They just did the Kenshiro the big triple header they just did the other day. They did that show and they've done numerous shows. So if that is true, which I haven't heard that, but if that is true, that's a very big deal for them to break into the Japanese boxing market. Yes, sir. Let me see. Oh yeah, so a lot of people they're agreeing with you, Rick, as far as the Hamza Shiraz. Like my man Joel right here, he says, "I'm telling you, BT, it's Team Shiraz."
About what? Hamza knocking out Pacheco?
Diego Pacheco, yeah.
I just think it's a different league.
I don't think so. I know you're gonna say it was a weight drain thing. He was weight drained, but Adames, he's had problems making weight too, and he's never had great conditioning at any point in his career. And so the fact that Hamza couldn't, as the younger man, impose himself in the back half of that fight,
Nothing to do with age. When you can't use your legs anymore and you can't get punches off because you're listless, that's what you are. You're a shell of yourself.
I hear you.
You at 68, you think that would happen? Shiraz, a totally different guy. You saw what he's about.
You mentioned earlier about A fighters and C fighters. I don't know if you class Hamza as an A, but
He's definitely an A.
okay, you class him as A. Is Belanga a B or a C?
Talanga is a he's a B. He's a B.
Is he what B minus?
No,
Or
he's a
B, or
B.
B? He's
He's
a
a
B.
B. If he wins a couple fights, he'll be an A minus.
Okay,
Yeah.
because a lot of people talk about him like he's a C, just because of the
No,
things you
he's not a
mentioned,
C.
the
He's not
lack
a
of ring
C.
IQ,
He's not a
maybe
C.
not having the fastest feet.
No, he's not a C.
Okay, I just see a lot of things range wise, distance control wise that Hamza has
Oh,
not touched.
listen, he's got a low ring IQ. There's not even a question about that.
Hamza or Berlanga?
Belanga.
I'm talking about Hamza. I'm saying Hamza
Oh, Hamza. Hamza's
distance
got a high
wise.
ring IQ.
He
Listen,
has the ring IQ.
he's gonna get better and better and better. He's got a great trainer, Andy Lee, and he's going to get better and better. He's a really good fighter. He's going to get better.
Okay. All right.
And most importantly, Turkey Al Sheikh likes him.
I mean, this day and age, that seems to really benefit guys. My man Hyro says Diego has never fought anybody the size of Hamza Shiraz, but to be fair, neither one of them has either fought each other.
Correct.
They're both really long. They're gonna offset an advantage they both normally enjoy.
That's true. You're right for once, BT. Congratulations.
Well, hey, I'm right quite a lot. I just don't too much.
I know, yeah. Mostly about things in Japan, but that's true.
No, a lot of things here on our shores.
Okay, I know. I'm you know, I'm busting your balls.
Of course.
I have a lot of respect for you. That's why I'm on this show. It's not for the money you're paying me, because that's free.
Yeah, well, it's great having you here, Rick. Who are you picking between Roach and Zepeda? Who do you favor in that one, Rick? Zepeda?
Yeah.
Points?
Yes.
Because that's where I was leaning too. I think Roach, with him being a guy who likes to fight in the pocket, Zepeda is going to get more of his punches off, and I don't think Roach is going to be able to keep him off for 12 rounds.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Let me see. What else, Rick? What else has you fired up in the sport of boxing right now? Anything business wise, or are there any stories that come to mind?
Nothing really.
Okay.
Nothing really.
Here's a question I'm sure you're going to love to answer. Can someone save Carmel Moen and get him signed to Zuffa Boxing or Matchroom Boxing?
Got a contract with Floyd. What are you going to do?
Yeah, those are hard to get out of. I know from what I've heard about Hitchens and even knowing Angelo and things like that. Those are not easy contracts to get out of, and it's maybe the promotions is not really a thing these days in boxing.
It was never a thing.
Well, why do you say that, Rick? Because I remember when Floyd was fighting, he had his logo on the banner. The past, the present, the future of sports entertainment.
Big deal. Come on.
Yeah. How about Canelo and Billy? That's a good one. Was it October now?
If Canelo's not completely shot and he can get off, he can win that fight. The other guy's wide and looping with his punches, will walk right to Canelo, and Canelo is with his experience can exploit him, and hopefully he can get off and land those punches.
Okay, yeah, and really for him, Billy, it's just all about can he exploit Canelo's habit of fighting in spurts.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. We already addressed this, but what do you think of Andre fighting tomorrow? I don't think you're thinking about Andre fighting tomorrow.
Please, who even thinks about this shit?
I thought
I didn't want to see. I didn't want to see him when he was champ. Fucking off.
To be fair to Rick, that is true, guys. Because I remember, there was a point in time where I was really high on Andre, and I was probably higher on Andre than Andre wasn't himself, and Rick was not high on Andre back then. So,
like watching paint dry.
But isn't it? But so I know you're gonna say obviously this guy's better than Andre, but a lot of those same things you say about Shakur, Shakur is boring, Shakur doesn't punch.
It's a whole different. Time out. You're talking about all-time greatness compared to not even era greatness. Come on now, please.
He wasn't chopped liver, Rick. He was a national amateur champion, 2-division champion.
Come on,
he was a good fighter. You can't say what
Joe Calzaghe would have done to Demetrius.
Andre's not a 68-pounder. He's not really a 68-pounder. His weight was 54 and 60.
Okay, well, let's go back to 60. Okay, come on. Real fighters. Imagine what a Bernard Hopkins would have done to him when he was a 60-pounder. Oh, my God. Please.
It would have been a boring fight. It would have been a very boring fight. But, yeah, probably Biop would have beat him in an ugly fight.
Right.
We got some Golden Boy questions for you, Rick. They said they want to know what took Floyd Schofield so long to fight that he only fought one round. I'm not sure if I understand the question.
He was injured twice.
He was injured.
Yeah, he scored that knockout over Farmer, and he hadn't fought since. He was injured twice. They had to cancel 2 fights.
And also, I mean, I feel like you addressed this in the past, but why was Charles Conwell on the shelf for so long?
Because he was injured. He lost. Something was wrong with him. He got it fixed, and now he's fighting again on August 1st against Paul Kroll. It's a great fight.
Yeah, that's actually one of the main fights I'm looking forward to on that card because Paul Kroll is a crafty veteran. Charles Conwell, obviously,
Guess who's got his DNA all over that one?
Mr. Rick Glaser.
That's right.
Oh wait, so you put Paul Kroll in that fight? Is that what you're saying?
Of course.
Okay, interesting. They want to know from you, Rick. Who do you think is the better talent, pound for pound, Oscar Collazo or Devin Haney?
Pound for pound? Oh,
Yeah.
Oscar Collazo.
Oh man.
Pound for pound. Not even. You're talking about pound for pound now.
But Devin's skilled. He's already scaled through weight classes. You know, 3 division champ, undisputed. Collazo has not become a 2 division champion. So is that fair to say?
No, okay, you're right. You're right. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I definitely agree with you.
But skill wise, you believe Oscar Collazo's skill set is deeper than Devin Haney's and better than Devin Haney's because that's what leads me to say that.
Yes.
Now break it down for the people that don't understand because people are going to say
higher ring IQ. Overall, hands and feet work better together. He can punch, move at the same time. Devin can only throw like jabs and stuff like that when he moves around. He's not really a puncher. This guy's lifting people off the ground with his punches. I mean, the Marvin Jerusalem was flying through the air. My wife goes, "Oh my God, look at this! The guy left his feet."
I hear you. Now, people who don't follow the lighter weight categories, they might say like, okay, well, Oscar hasn't fought the competition Devin has. Devin fought Lomachenko, and he fought.
That has nothing to do with pure ability. He's in a weight class. A lot of these guys don't fight one another. Okay, and there's not millions of dollars to throw around. And when you got $275,000 for a little guy from third world countries, that's a lot of money from the country they're in. So they like to stay in their own comfort zone.
Fair enough. So there you go. If y'all got any questions for Rick, feel free to ask him. He said this is my favorite episode. Yeah, because this guy loves Oscar Collazo. So you're preaching to a lot of Oscar Collazo fans.
Who's saying that? Paul Stotek?
No, this guy Joel. He's a long time viewer. He's a Puerto Rican guy. He loves Oscar Collazo. So
I do too. I think he's great.
I think he's awesome too. I would rather see him at 108 pounds than
he speaks great English. He speaks great Spanish. He can punch with both hands. I mean, there's nothing negative about the guy.
Yeah.
Why? I don't understand why there's so many haters of Oscar Collazo. What's he done fucking wrong? He's a sweet kid.
No,
he signs autographs.
It's not an attack on his skill set because we all know he's skilled. It's not an attack on his character because he seems like a great guy. It's just more so. Is the Pedro Tajron fight not happening? And then
don't forget. Time out. Don't forget. Miguel Cotto Promotions has got to say yes. We'll do that fight. Oscar's got to say so. DAZN's got to say yeah. We'll put the money up for it. Come on,
I get it. No, I get it. But I'm just telling you where the fans are coming from because now my man TSM he wants me to tell you, Rick, that Ring Magazine should take out Oscar Collazo and put the amazing boy Ken Shield back on the pound list, and I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Ken Shield should be back on the pound list.
Whatever.
Ken Shield's a future Hall of Famer. But yeah, Oscar will be in great fights. He's on his way. Because the thing is, Rick, there's roughly.
First of all, they can take Usyk out of the top 10 now.
What? Why? Because of the Rico Verhoeven fight?
Yeah, no, because they gave up all the titles. He's gonna fight fucking the hobos his last 2 fights.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I also think you could probably take Junto off the pound list because
Junto doesn't deserve to be on there anymore.
No, he lost it in a way, and I thought he lost to Sebastian Hernandez-Reyes.
Okay, there you go. And your Japanese, your Japanese boxing market.
Yeah. Another thing too, Rick, is that there's like you mentioned earlier, the depth in talent. Or not talent, but the amount of fighters that are in the weight class. There's only 300 guys in Oscar Collazo's weight class, so there really shouldn't be any maneuvering around anyone, and that's why I think he's getting the criticism that he's getting, despite the fact that he's very skillful. And he's a nice guy.
Listen, Listen, he beat Melvin Jerusalem when he won his first WBA title. Now Melvin Jerusalem goes to Japan and beats one of their great fighters over there. Come on, I mean, okay. This guy goes out and beats a guy who's undefeated, was a 10-year champion. Some guy from Thailand. Like you mentioned his name earlier.
TB Freshmart.
Yeah, whatever his name is, and make a long story short, he beat him handily, knocked him dead. I mean, what more can you want? He's beating guys, real good fighters.
I'm just telling you where it's coming from. I like Oscar. Personally, for me, if you're asking me, the fight, I know wouldn't have it because this guy's not a champion yet, but the fight I would like to see Oscar Collazo win would be at 108 pounds when there's this kid named Yuga Osaki who's going to become a world champion in the next, 6
well, I would. The fight I'd like to see him in is Rene Santiago, the guy from Puerto Rico.
That'd be a great fight too.
All Puerto Rican shootout.
That'd be a great.
Like back in the day, like Juan Laporte and Wilfredo Gomez.
To me, that fight makes more sense than Sandoval. Like Sandoval is good, but Sandoval is not. I know he's Mexican American, but he's not like that big of a name to be doing all this for. I feel, but again, I'm not in the business. You are. You guys know the numbers, so do what you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
The nobody wants to know what happened between you and Billy Irwin. I don't know who's Billy Irwin.
Well, who asked what question?
The Nobody 92. He says, "What happened to you and Billy Irwin?"
Oh, I ended up.
Who's Billy Irwin?
Was a Canadian lightweight back. He was number one IBF contender. The Spada-4 fight, I ended up having to sue him. I won. The judge ruled in my favor. He paid me. He re-signed with me as part of the deal. Then I got him the Juan Diaz fight when Juan Diaz was main events. So we're good today. We're good.
That's good. How many lawsuits have you had in your whole career, Rick?
I've never been sued by anybody. I have sued people, but I've never been sued.
How many people have you sued?
Not many. Not many. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. That's not many. That's not over 35 years. That's pretty good.
That's not bad. That's not bad because lawsuits are a big part of the sport. I've had like 2 or 3 people threaten to sue me, but they never follow through on it.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta take this now. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, Rick. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, bye-bye now, buddy.
All right. So there you have it, man. There's Rick Glaser. He got a phone call. I guess when the money calls, you gotta go and dip. And I know Rick, he doesn't dip out of here unless there's actually money on the table for calling him. So look, it was a great episode, man. He don't answer all y'all questions. But I'm here. I'm here. You got your boy BT here. So let me see what an hour and 17. I'm gonna give you all the even 2 hours. I'm gonna give you all the honest and even 2 hours. So hit the like button, subscribe, definitely super chat and all that blase. A couple of programming updates, guys, because I told you guys a while ago I was supposed to go to the Zuffa boxing card this weekend. I've actually decided to not go to the Zuffa boxing card because it didn't make sense. So I'm not gonna be at the fights, but I will be watching the fights and giving you guys my thoughts on the whole card and all that. Might even go live. Maybe we'll go live for the fight. We'll see how it goes. But Zuffa boxing, I will not be in New York City for that fight. But I am gonna be in Vegas for here in Vegas. I'll be in Vegas for Zepeda versus Roach, and it'll be a hell of a fight. I'll be there at that fight, and then I'm not sure about Teofimo versus Rolly, but I know for a fact Roach Zepeda and Itama Hrgovic, I will be at both those fights. And as far as Itama Hrgovic, I got everything booked already. So we gonna be up, we'll be there. Anyway, let me see. I missed some comments. My man Joel says fighting Ricardo Sandoval is greater than fighting the Temu version of Manny Pacquiao. I mean, look, I don't think it's a bad fight. I just don't like the fight when you consider that there's a guy that you could fight to be undisputed there. That's a legitimate, credible champion. And there's just so much smoke at 108 pounds. You got Santiago, you got Simsiri, you got Guy Akira, you got Yugo Osaki, who's going to beat the shit out of all these guys when he gets his opportunity. Remember that, and I've been telling you, and everybody that will listen. Yugo Osaki is gonna ice everybody in the 108-pound division, and after he ices everybody in the 108-pound division, he's gonna ice everybody in the 112-pound division because that's really the guy in and around these weights. And y'all gonna go ahead and see. Ergashev versus Jukumbayev is a sneak. You know what? It's funny you mentioned that, Martha Prince, because I was looking at the boxing schedule earlier today, and I seen that fight was happening. And I remember I did a video about that fight a while ago. And I'm excited about that one. I'm not sure how I'm gonna watch it live, or if I could even watch it live, if there's even gonna be a broadcast for that particular fight. But that's gonna be a fun fight. You got Uzbekistan versus Kazakhstan. You know, Central Asian domestic dust up, two southpaw power punchers. Hell yeah. I like both guys, but I think Jukumbayev is the fresher of the two. So Jukumbayev should win, but a win here for Ergashev, that would really turn his career around, because this is a guy, Ergashev, been a big disappointment. You know, I remember I used to see him spar back at Warriors Gym in South Florida back in like 2022, 2021, putting guys out, doing his thing. And then he fought Matias, and you know what happened to him in the Matias fight? I guess he had got stabbed in his quads in Uzbekistan going into the fight, but he got his ass whooped, and he ain't been the same since. Then Julian Smith, the blind guy, he beat his ass, and he really has a return of prominence. So it's a big fight for him in his career, for sure. It's off. That's what I thought, because I went on, I saw it on Boxing Scene or somewhere. I don't know if it was Box Track or Box. I seen it somewhere, but I haven't seen nobody promote it, so I just assumed it wasn't happening. But then I saw it, and so then I was like, okay, maybe it's on. But that sucks. It's beyond fandom. It's not. I mean, I like Yuga. I've always been a fan of his skill set, but like, nah, you know, like I said, man, it all goes back. With Yuga, with me, I'm not talking about what I think when it comes to him. Like, there are certain fighters in boxing you can bet your ass. I'm not telling you guys what I think about them. I'm telling you guys what I know. And when with him, it all goes back to those 44 days in the Bay Area, you know, in training camp, you know, seeing him spar 15, 20 times, knowing his whole mental makeup, seeing shit happen to us in training camp, and seeing how he actually deals with adversity on a day-to-day basis. That kid is a professional. Like, he's top notch just in everything he does in his life. That's why I talk so highly of him. Because for me, when I get to see fighters on a day-to-day, I evaluate them a lot different. And there's some guys where I could tell you, okay, they got the talent, but they're head cases, and they're not going to really be what they probably should be. And then there's fighters that you guys may not know a lot about, but I've seen how they deal with things, and I'm like, that guy is going to be somebody. And before I knew him, I thought he was going to be somebody, but seeing him on a day-to-day basis, and then knowing his skill set, knowing his strengths inside and out, knowing his weaknesses inside and out, there's not one fighter in the 108-pound division that I would not feel confident seeing him and putting him in the ring against. And that's not me talking crazy to prop him up. I know he's got some. He has some things he needs to tighten up, and I do think they need to step his competition up before he fights for a world title. But he's really, really good. Like, he's top notch. He's right. At the same time, who's going to put the money up? Sean Gibbons don't have the money to put up. No, look, I know that Pedro Tadron is not a big draw. Pedro Tadron has like 500 Instagram followers or whatever it is. He doesn't, have big TV money. But I understand the reasons why it's not happening. But my thing is like, bro, you're the A side. You're the A side in the fight. You can make the fight happen, and it's undisputed. Yes, it's not a big fight in terms of the name, but it's big for the legacy. It's big for the reputation. It's big for the, you can get undisputed fighting him there. But again, even if we take Pedro aside, you can't sit here and fix your lips and tell me the Rene Santiago fight isn't a big fight. Two big Puerto Rican, fighters in that weight class. I mean, come on. Top 3 fights you're excited to see in person. Well, right now, the 3 fights that I know for a fact that I'm going to be at are Cepeda Roach, which this will be my, let me see. This will be my 3rd time seeing Lamont Roach fight in person, and it'll be my 4th time covering Lamont Roach in person. I was there when Lamont Roach fought Rene Alvarado on the Zordo versus UDS Gonzalez undercard. I was there when he fought Pitbull, and I'll be there at this fight. So I like Lamont Roach. I feel like he always takes on the smoke. I'm extremely excited for Hrgovic Itama just because I have been to the UK in 7 years and I got a lot of friends in the UK. In fact, I'm gonna let y'all know in advance. I actually did 2 interviews today. They'll probably be out like I don't know when, but at some point in time, I'm gonna drop them. I did 2 interviews today with Denzel Bentley and Michael Angeletti. So stay tuned for those whenever they drop. Um, but yeah, going to the UK, I'm excited to see a lot of people I know in the fight game in the UK, and obviously you guys know what I think about Hrgovic, and I like Moses as well, and it's a damn good heavyweight fight. So gonna be good to finally experience the British atmosphere live. So that fight, and then I'm not really sure what's gonna happen in September with boxing. I'm still waiting to see when Angelo Leo's gonna fight. But more than likely, I'm gonna say like I'm 75 to 80% sure that I'll be my ass will be in Japan in the middle of September. So I'll be at Jin Suzaki's homecoming fight against David Samaju. So looking forward to that. So I would say those three, and potentially to Takuma Inoue intention if I can get a ticket. I'm telling you, man. I mean, the kid's style. For those of you who have never seen him, he's a 108-pounder, which I know is a small weight class, but he's got a big frame for the weight class. He probably won't be a 108-pounder much longer. He has the frame to probably go up as high as I would say 118 pounds, which means I think if he fights this potential, he could be a world champion from 108 to 118, which would make him a 4 division champ. But he has the footwork very similar to guys like Lomachenko. You know, he counter punches very well, has a world class jab, fast as fuck, like hits hard with both hands. I mean, he hasn't gotten that push yet, but he's starting to get a bit of it now. You're going to be hearing that name in the coming months. So I mean, I'm telling y'all, yeah, you're going to see. Shout out to the Nobody 92 for the super chat. He says, what are your thoughts on Herman Caicedo as a trainer and his boxing gym? I love Herman Caicedo. Good guy. One of the guys that really makes the South Florida fight scene what it is. And I've had many great experiences going to the Caicedo Sports Training Center. That being said, I think, everybody has the way they train their fighters. I think Herman only works for certain styles. You need to have a particular style to work with Herman, because I've seen guys that are more on the aggressive side, not necessarily work the best with Herman. But when you get a guy who can box at a high level from the outside, that seems to be the style that he works with the best. His gym is really interesting because they have the fighters that train with him. They have rooms in the gym, so fighters could literally sleep in the gym, literally. So you can literally live in the gym. They got washing machines and shit in there. There's a video about it. I have a video from years ago somewhere in the channel archive. So if you look up like Caicedo Sports Training Center, True School Sports, there should be a video of me going there like during the pandemic, like 6 years ago. So yeah, shout out to Herman. He was just doing commentary for the Japanese card on Pro Box with my good buddy Brendan Tobin. So good to see Herman still doing his thing in the fight game. Got a lot of love for him. Angelo Leo versus Omar Trinidad will be fun. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I mean, if I don't know what's gonna happen, I honestly don't know what the next move is gonna be for Angelo. Like I haven't talked to Angelo in a week and a half, and I haven't talked to Miguel Leo like in 2.5 weeks. But Omar Trinidad fight, I mean, if we gotta fight him, cool. But I don't really care about that fight. I'm really to that point where like I want to just fight the damn Bruce Carringtons and Espinosas. Like Omar is cool. But I mean, Omar's cool, but he's not that caliber of fighter. Not to disrespect him. I mean, he's the mandatory. I respect, or he's fighting for the mandatory spot. But I'm not really feeling that fight. I want Espinoza. Is an Andy Hiroka interview in the works? So yeah, as many of you guys know, I posted a clip of Andy Hiroka that his dad sent to me yesterday on Twitter. I got that from him because I was trying to set an interview up with him, but he's supposed to be coming to the States probably in the next 2 to 3 months. That's what I was told. So we might both be in Las Vegas in and around the same time, and that's when I want to interview him in person. So to answer your question, yes, 1,000%. And TSM, I agree with you 1,000%. I think there's levels in boxing, and it'd be awesome to see how Omar does in a big fight. But I've watched Omar a lot. We've all watched Omar a lot. There's levels in boxing, but respect to him. That's what I'm saying, man. I feel like people are getting like if Diego Pacheco, like this is my thing, and this is why the power of media is such a big thing because when Hamza fought Adama and looked like dog water, everyone said he was mid, he was trash. There was not all this hype about Hamza, and he beat a guy that a lot of people don't rate highly in Edgar Berlanga, and now he's this and he's that. Now, if Pacheco would have beat the brakes off of Berlanga in the same fashion, I don't think he gets the same credit. But either way, that's neither here nor there. When they do fight, Diego, you know what this fight reminds me? I'm gonna tell you guys what this fight reminds me of. This fight reminds me not style wise, but like narrative wise. To me, it's very reminiscent of Tiger Johnson versus Nicholas Flaus. You know, and I'll tell you what I mean. Nicholas Flaus was picking up a lot of good wins, knocking people out on Pro Box, becoming a contender. And Tiger wasn't looking so hot in his fights, you know, on Top Rank. But going into their fight, if you've really done your homework on each fighter, not just from the last couple of fights, but the totality of their career, you would have known that Tiger Johnson fought at a higher level throughout his career from the amateurs to now, and even in the pros. And it's the same thing with Hamza Shiraz and Diego Pacheco. Hamza's looked better in his recent fights, but Diego Pacheco has the higher pedigree, and I feel like Buddy McGirt already in one training camp has already unlocked a couple things. It's going to be just like Tiger Johnson versus Nicholas Flaus. And I can't wait for them to fight. Do I think they're rushing the Inoue Tension rematch too fast? I don't think Tension's done anything. Like I've seen Tenshin Nasukawa in the media talking about how he's changed and how he's different. What could have possibly changed in a year where you've only just fought the corpse of Gaio Estrada, with all due respect? Is it a great event? Yes. Am I excited about the possibility that I might go to the fight and I might be able to just be in the crowd and enjoy it as a fan or even cover it? Yes. Oh my God. I mean, the Japanese fans made that fight feel so electric on Twitter and through my comments. So yes, of course, I like the event, but I would rather see, you know, Inoue and Tenshin explore other fights right now, in my opinion. But it's not a bad fight. Fulton is requesting to change the weight to 133. Is concerning. He hasn't been serious with his training. That's what I thought. You know, I had Greg Hackett on here the other night with Sean Tatel, and I asked him because he's in the gym with Fulton, and you know, Greg told me that, you know, Fulton is, you know, serious for the fight, which, you know, could just be him sticking up for his friend. He doesn't want to throw his friend under the bus. I understand that, but from what I've gathered about Fulton, watching him from afar, and mind you, I've studied Stephen Fulton for years because, you know, obviously he was an ex-Angelo opponent and things like that, and he fought Inoue. He's fought two of my favorite fighters in boxing, right? And he's been a guy. He's probably one of the most covered fighters in the history of this channel, Stephen Fulton. So I know about Stephen Fulton quite well, and he just hasn't had that same mentality, you know, since the Inoue fight. And this right here confirms all my suspicions. I didn't even know that. So I already thought it was suspicious yesterday when he didn't go to the media workouts. I took it as, oh, he's probably trying to scale off the weight and doesn't want to be out there just doing bullshit like shadow boxing. So I guess I was right. Does Derevinchenko upset Jalil Hackett? Good question. I haven't really put too much thought into the fight. You know, Sergey's a guy that's only lost to the best of the best. Is Jalil Hackett the best of the best? I don't think so. So that makes it very interesting because I think it's going to tell us where Jalil is at. I would lean towards no, just because Derevinchenko is so long in the tooth. But I would say Jalil probably wins a close decision. But we're going to see. We're definitely going to see. Hamza Shiraz is just meaner. I don't think so. I think that Berlanga fight has everybody's perception warped of Hamza. How could you say he's meaner? I mean, he wasn't meaner with Carlos Adames. And who's to say that Pacheco isn't mean? Because I'm telling y'all, man, Buddy McGirt, this Buddy McGirt Pacheco shit, this gonna be Buddy McGirt's best work. I'm not gonna sit here and say that. I'm not gonna even insinuate that Pacheco was anywhere in the same league as a guy like Lennox Lewis. But this Diego Pacheco will be for Buddy McGirt what Lennox Lewis was to Emmanuel Stewart. This will be, if you really think about it, with Buddy McGirt, all the fighters he's gotten, Kovalev, Arturo Gatti, just damn near all the fighters he's gotten through the years. They're normally guys at the end of their careers. They're already established. He's never had a young fighter, going into his prime, long, rangy, already he's coming in with a high boxing pedigree that he can just, mold here, fine tune here, sharpen here. I feel like it's going to be his best work as a coach, but that's just me. I've always been very high on Diego Pacheco. I've remained high on Diego Pacheco even through his lackluster ass performances. And with Buddy McGirt, I saw enough. To maintain that belief. So is Fulton overrated after all? No, I don't think so. I just think certain fighters fight other fighters, they get their ass whooped, and they're never the same again. A fighter can have a certain performance and not be the same fighter. Now the Stephen Fulton from like 2000, like from Adam Lopez all the way up to Brandon Figueroa 1, very damn good fighter, fringe pound level guy. In my opinion, probably should have been on the pound list. But you see, Stephen Fulton to me is a good example of why I can't even get mad at fighters when they take all these tough fights, because he took about as many tough fights as anybody in this country, and he had a couple bad performances, and look how they talk about him. Now granted, he brought it upon himself. He missed weight against, like he's not acting like a champion. He's not acting like what he is, which is a champion. He missed weight against Foster, got shut out. Now he's missing weight against. He's trying to change the weight. So he's not. I understand how people are putting him down, but to act like he wasn't like that or wasn't one of those top guys back then, it's disingenuous. You're acting like Hamza ain't do Ammo Williams greasy. No, he did. But I mean, for one, Ammo. Rick was talking about boxing IQs earlier. Ammo's boxing IQ ain't close to Diego Pacheco, and he's not boxed on a level of Diego Pacheco. That's number one, and he's shorter. But yeah, it was a good win. It was a young guy in his prime. I give you that one. But doesn't do enough to sway me off my belief that Diego's an outboxer. It doesn't. Buddy was asked with Frank Martin. I mean, I don't know, man. People weren't saying that when he knocked out the corpse of Francis Bartholomew. People weren't saying that. They only said that after Frank looked bad against Albright. But at the end of the day, look, Buddy is a trainer can try to impose ideas and be a great coach, but the fighter still has to have the talent to work with. Now, look, I like Frank. I think Frank's a great athlete. I think Frank's a great athlete, and his athleticism and his punching power has taken him very far in boxing, further than with most guys. I give Frank that, but Frank never had the IQ to really, in my opinion, cut it with the top guys on the top level. Pacheco is coming in with a higher ceiling than a guy like Frank Martin, which is why I believe it's going to work. And that, of course, Harold, you hate Diego Pacheco. Wasn't Buddy McGirt the one who cornered the fighter who died? He was Maxime Dadashev. He was in the corner for that fight. Probably should have thrown the towel a little earlier, but he did inevitably throw in the towel. And Maxime Dadashev was begging to continue fighting, so he actually went against his fighter's wishes, and it didn't matter, and it's unfortunate what happened. But that's boxing. That can happen to anybody. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what people act like this. This is what I'm saying. And people think it's just like a turkey thing, but it's the truth, guys. And I was sat down. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I was literally, when I was in Atlanta for the Rice Salim Angelo fight, the day it got canceled, I met somebody who was very prominent behind the scenes in the boxing social media world, and they sat my ass down, and they pretty much explained to me when these fighters like Bruce and Abdullah and Hamza Shiraz, when they signed these Ring Magazine ambassador deals, I was pretty much told by someone on the inside that knows the inner workings of boxing social media that these Ring Magazine brand ambassador deals are basically propaganda. Like, you sign so they can push propaganda about you continuously on everybody's feed. And I think it does wonders because certain fighters have an inflated reputation. He got clipped and hurt by by Emma Williams, who's not a high level fighter, in terms of boxing IQ and even stamina wise. Like, he's not a guy that gets stronger as the fight goes on. He's a guy that fades. You understand? And people just forget about it because all we see is Hamza Shiraz on the street interviewing New Yorkers about Berlanga, and when talking shit goes wrong, videos about Berlanga. Like that Berlanga fight, people want to say Edgar Berlanga isn't this and he's not that. Edgar Berlanga is such a superstar that y'all are inflating Hamza Shiraz. What he actually is. He's a good fighter. he's not this killer like you guys make him out to be. But we shall see. Time will see. Nah, Diego, I feel is got some things he's still got to tighten up, but there's certain things that are not biased. If you go look at both of their careers, it's very easy to see who's fought at a higher pedigree. Stephen Folsom was pound for pound versus NOA. That loss set off a chain of events in his personal life. He still hasn't. That's what I'm saying, and people don't know this, man. I've had the honor to get to know not one, not two, but I would say probably on a personal level, I would say around seven fighters over the years. 7 fighters that I know their life outside of boxing. So I know when they win, how it affects them, and I know when they lose, how it affects them. And people just don't understand, like, when these guys win or lose fights, it has a big effect either direction. Why are there so many dislikes for Mexican American or Mexican fighters? Is it jealousy or envy? Well, I don't want to get into the race thing. I don't look at boxing like that, and I damn sure don't look at life like that. I know great people in all cultures, and I know pieces of shit in all cultures. So I don't look at life or boxing like that. What I can say though is that there's just certain fighters that get pushed a lot more and have a big reputation than their skills have actually earned to this point. And then there's certain fighters that got to do 4 times as more just to get the same level of credit. That is a thing in boxing. So that's what I can say. But I mean, isn't that what an ambassador kind of is? It is. No, it is. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. If you're a fighter and you can get attention and you can get people to post about you, then it's great. I'm all for a fighter growing their brand and marketing and things like that. But what I'm saying is, what I've noticed with the majority of the Ring Magazine brand ambassadors is that their highlights get magnified to the 100th power, and their lowlights almost never get talked about. And there's a lot of, I'm going to say it, there's some Ring Magazine ambassadors that I think are overrated, and Hamza is one of them. That doesn't mean he's not good. It just means that a lot of y'all don't look at everything. Y'all just look at, oh, he knocked out Belanga, who talked shit, and it was entertaining, and I hate Belanga, so he's great. He's this killer. Shiraz is great on the inside work, fast hands. That's why he could win big fights versus some guys. I mean, where was it against Carlos Adames? Edgar Belanga was in the first 2 rounds and some change was outboxing him. When Edgar started to exchange, that's where he got messed up. But he actually was, I was surprised. I'm like, Edgar's outboxing this guy? Edgar's not a boxer. But what's funny is Edgar was a boxer in the amateurs. If you talk to anybody who watched Edgar in the amateurs, he was more of a boxer than he was a puncher. He didn't get this label as a puncher till Top Rank, struck lightning in a bottle with that knockout streak. I'm not sold. I'm not sold yet. I'm not sold. Good fighter. I'm not saying he's not good. Can punch. I like him. But the Carlos Adames fight is still fresh in my mind. The Emma Williams fight is still fresh in my mind. And I'm not really that blown away by him beating the Bojangles worker for the world title defense, to win the world title. And now he's fighting a Chick-fil-A worker, his next fight. So, I mean, that's what it is. When will Reito Tsutsumi become a world champion? That all depends on, when the matchmakers want to get aggressive with him. He still hasn't even fought in Japan yet. So I think he'll fight in Japan before he fights for a world title. So we'll see. God knows when that's going to happen. Will I be at the fights on Sunday? I was supposed to. I wanted to, but I had to change my plans. And it's unfortunate because one of my good friends is on the card. Dominique Trap Francis. He's on the prelims. He's fighting Hector Sosa. So best wishes to my guy, Dominique Trap Francis. I got a lot of love for Dominique Francis. What is he like? He's like 16-0 now. I was interviewing Dominique Francis when he was 2-0, and I know a lot about him outside of boxing as well as in boxing, and he's had a tough grind coming from South Florida. So I want to see him do well. I want to see him make it. I have my criticisms of Zulu Boxing, but respect to Zulu Boxing for giving my boy Dominique Francis an opportunity to showcase his skills. He's got a great personality. Someone that I think if he does get the cameras on him more, he's going to captivate the boxing world. So best luck to him. Shiraz is not beating Pacheco. That's what I'm saying, man. And I don't feel like people are using the boxing eyes, but we shall see. Let me ask y'all a question. How is Devin getting all this praise for calling out smaller fighters, but y'all, oh God, this the same guy that was going on about Tank a couple of lives ago. I mean, Keyshawn Davis is not smaller than Devin Haney. Brian Norman Jr. may have been smaller, but Brian Norman is strong. You know, like, okay, I'm gonna just parrot what I said earlier, and you can do with this what you want. And I'm not gonna with you because you was going on about Tank the last live. I'm not answering questions about Tank until he's fighting. And I like Tank, but he's not relevant right now. Devin Haney just fought Brian Norman Jr. when he was undefeated at the top of his game, right? And you can say he was inexperienced, and you can do what people do, which is discredit wins, which is very easy to do. A lot of people do it in boxing these days. But a lot of people, myself included, they didn't think Devin Haney was going to win that fight, right? Now he beat Devin Haney, or he beat Brian Norman Jr., who was, undefeated, young Black American fighter, and he's going to turn around and fight Keyshawn Davis, young, undefeated Black American fighter who was an Olympian, who's big and strong. When was the last time y'all saw someone fight two back-to-back undefeated Black American fighters? Just answer that question for me. Name me some fighters. Maybe I'm overrating Devin Haney, and there's tons of fighters that have done it, and you guys are smarter than me. But let me know in the comments. No, I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't drained. I'm sure he was drained, but I'm not even talking about him being. I'm talking about, like, technically speaking. I mean, with him leaving his head on the center line, getting counterpunched, him getting caught in between ranges. I've seen it happen in so many fights. That's why Emma was able to clip him, because sometimes he wants to be a mid-range fighter. Sometimes he wants to be long. Sometimes he squares up in the pocket. I mean, there's things he hasn't tightened up yet, and he's lucky. Hamza's lucky. I am not on the team of any fighters at 168, because if I was, he would get turned over. I like Tank. I like Tank, man. I got nothing against Tank. But right now, he's not. He's tweeting his life away. Listen, I'm dying for Tank to fight. I would love to go to a Tank fight, if it's against Cruz in a rematch, or Roach, or Shakur, or whoever it is. Tank is box office. But Tank fought Martin and Roach. Was that back-to-back? Maybe you're right. Because really, the only guy I can think of that's done that in recent years, in the last, let's say 5 years or so, is my boy Angelo Leo. He fought Tremaine Williams, who was undefeated, and then he fought Stephen Fulton, who was undefeated. Granted, he lost to Stephen Fulton, but it was still a great fight. Let me see. Was Tank back-to-back? Was it back-to-back? Let me see. It was back. Okay, so I stand corrected. Shout out to my guy here. So Tank did it. So, okay, Tank did it. Devin's doing it now. Angelo Leo's done it. But it's not many fighters that do that. Let's be real. There's not many fighters in boxing today that will fight. And by the way, Lamont Roach wasn't undefeated. I said undefeated Black American fighter, but I'll give it to you. World champion. So, Tank's done something similar to that. But it's not a lot of fighters doing that. You talk about Shiraz's flaws, but you refuse to mention Diego's. You're just biased. You're wrong. I have videos from when he performed terribly, and I've said what he's done wrong. Diego, before Buddy McGirt, Diego, much like Hamza, probably even worse, would get caught in between two styles. Diego likes to box. Diego's with the Benavides, and then he wanted to press, and he wouldn't know what to do against certain guys, and that's why he had a bad fight against Kevin Lele Sajo. Buddy McGirt's giving him a clear direction and a clear identity in one fight, and it's going to get better and better and better with each training camp. So that being said, he got his flaws, but what I'm trying to tell you, what I'm trying to illustrate is that if you just look at the totality of from when they both started picking up the damn boxing gloves, Pacheco has fought at a higher pedigree, and you're going to see when they fight. You and Rick and everyone else. I can't wait. I don't really care about the outcomes. I'm not talking about outcomes, because my thing is, in boxing, when you step up to the plate and you're fighting good fighters, top fighters, upper echelon guys, and it's back-to-back, you deserve respect. I don't give a damn. I give you my respect. That's why, look, Devin Haney, what was it, like 2-3 months ago? Devin Haney was on Twitter saying, I don't know shit about boxing, right? And he may still think that, even though he's dead wrong, right? But I call a spade a spade. He's stepping up to the plate and he's fighting top competition. Anybody who's fighting top competition, I'm gonna give them the just due. I have no prediction for that fight, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, look, Canelo. You guys know I wasn't always the biggest Canelo fan. I mean, I've grown to appreciate Canelo as time has went on. But like Canelo, he just fought Terrence Crawford. Now he's fighting Christian and Billy. And Christian and Billy is a guy that, I'll be honest with you, I never thought he would fight. Just because of the fact that Canelo likes to fight in spurts and load up on punches at 68. And this guy just doesn't stop coming. He doesn't stop throwing punches and coming forward. So I think it's actually a bad fight for him. But we're going to see. I give him respect no matter what happens. There are certain fights in boxing where you got to just put the outcome aside. And you got to say, you know what? That guy, he done went ahead and he stepped up to the plate and he made a proper fight for the boxing fans. Let me give my respect. We need to get to that place in boxing. That's why, because people don't do that for these fighters. That's why these guys don't want to take these fights. It's not that the fighters are scared of losing. It's that, and Keith Thurman explained this really well one time, every fighter has a marquee value. Every fighter, from the contenders to the prospects to the guys you never heard of to the pound for pound guys, everyone has one. In every fight, that marquee value is either going up or it's going down. And a big reason why a fighter's marquee value goes down so much when they lose a fight is because when a fighter takes a tough fight and loses, boxing fans are very vicious and ruthless, and the promoter's like, okay, well, these people don't want to see him no more, so fuck this guy. Let's put him on the shelf and let's not get him fights and let's not put our best foot forward to, make good things happen in his career. And I feel like if we created an environment where not just the Devin, I'm not just talking about the big names. I'm talking about you at the mid level. Like I'll give you guys an example of a guy who's not a big name but has fought so many tough fighters, and people don't care. But I'm gonna give him some shine. Look at a guy like Keyshawn James at 68. Go look at his record. In fact, hold on. Let's pull up his record. All right. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you guys an example of what I'm talking about. Right. Because there's so many fighters at the mid-level or fringe contender level that are actually out here stepping up to the plate, fighting tough guys, giving people great fights, entertaining fights. But, they lose a fight, and now promoters want to put them on the shelf. They can't get fight dates. So what do they got to do? They got to work a 9-to-5 job. They got to go make ends meet some other way. But I'm gonna give I'm gonna show you guys an example of what I'm talking about. So we're gonna go to screen share. Look at a guy like Keyshawn James, right? Now, a lot of you guys may not know who the fuck Keyshawn James is. And if you do know who Keyshawn James is, odds are you only know him for 2 fights, because there's only 2 fights he's had. You either know him as the guy that got knocked out cold by Lester Martinez, or you know him as the guy that knocked out David Stevens in 1 round on Showbox a couple years ago, right? Look at his record, right? Look at the records of the guys he's fought. Let's count how many guys. So he's got 14 fights, 10-2-2 with 5 knockouts. Let's count how many undefeated guys that he's fought. And I won't count the first few guys. So I'll start from here, from Richard Brewer. So look, 1 undefeated guy. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 straight undefeated guys. Then he fought Vaughn Alexander, who was like a former world title challenger. Then he fought Lester, lost to Lester. He was undefeated, right? Then he fought Yohanier Martinez. I was at this fight. This is on Pro Box. This is that infamous fight where they had the double knockdown. And then he fought Catalan Peters. So he fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seven undefeated fighters in his last 8 fights, right? But do you hear people saying, "Oh, well, Keyshawn James is this and Keyshawn James is that"? No, but if guys like him, or just anybody at the top level, if guys like that if boxing fans were quicker to give appreciation as they are criticism when guys start ducking and avoiding fights, then I feel like we get more fights. That's my honest opinion. But who am I? Shout out to Mooney's Gamble. He says Fulton asked for the fight to be at 133, 2 fights in a row. So now the fight is an eliminator. Did Fulton? If Fulton can't make weight anymore, he should just retire. I don't like telling fighters when they should retire, because like Roy Jones said it best. I didn't tell these guys when to start boxing, so who am I to tell them when to finish? But it gets to a point where it's like, bro, it's clear as day to everyone that your heart's not in it. And it could be for a number of reasons. It's not really our business what those reasons are, but your heart's not in it. You couldn't get up for Oshaki Foster, which if he would have won that fight, it would have potentially got him in some Hall of Fame talks, you know? But you lost to Foster, right? And you missed weight for Foster. Now you're requesting a weight change for Liam Wilson. And it's like, bro, and you might lose to Liam Wilson, who's not a top one level fighter. So it's like you're not the Stephen Fulton, unfortunately, and you haven't recovered from the Inoue fight, and you know you did become champion again against Figueroa, so I give him credit for that, and that win has aged well because Figueroa became champion again himself. But other than that, you haven't really got back to that level you were at, you know, and so you might need to consider it. You know, Fulton's made good money. From my understanding, he has plenty of. He's got some businesses in Philadelphia and things like that he's working on. So, I mean, if you made good money, you can get out, man. You should get out because your heart's not in the fight game no more. You know? And boxing is like a jealous woman, guys. It is a jealous woman. If you don't put your heart and soul into this, if you don't give this your 150% undivided attention, it will not love you back. And you know, obviously he was at one point, which is why he was getting the results he was getting against so many really good fighters. But that time has clearly came and went. He's not serious anymore. Is Shiraz in Canelo's plans? I definitely think Shiraz is in I don't know about Canelo's plans, but I definitely think it's in Turkey's plans because we all know that Hamza is like the golden boy of Riyadh season. He's like the franchise fighter of Riyadh season, you know? Turkey likes him a lot. That's why Turkey ran over and was telling him what the scorecards were in the Adamas fight, right? So that was a fight that I know was floated out there, you know, about Canelo fighting in England. You know, Canelo's made a whole career off beating up British fighters. And for Canelo fighting in England would do crazy big business. So I think there is a market for that. But right now, I just think it's about Canelo getting into this Billy fight, and then they can reevaluate from there. If Canelo gets to Billy, then you can talk about it. Joe Sean James will fight anybody. Joe Sean James, I mean, I'll tell you this, man. And you're trying to be out here and you're trying to put down Joe Sean James. All right. But if a lot of your top favorite fighters, if a lot of the guys who a lot of you people come my comment section and dick right every day, if they had even 10% of the heart that Joe Sean James has and belief in himself to take these tough fights, man, boxing would be the biggest. Boxing would be like the biggest sport in America, or or at least in the top 3. We need more Joe Sean James in the sport. What are my thoughts on Bruce Carrington versus the other featherweight champions? It's a good question. I think Bruce had a lot of things he need to tighten up on, probably more than anybody in the division. I think he could actually beat Espinoza. I know people are going to say that's crazy. Both Bruce and Espinoza, neither one of them are durable. They both have below average to average durability. So that fight's just really about who can land the big shit first. And, you know, the thing with Espinoza is going to give Bruce the shots he wants to land at the range he wants. So to me, that's a very intriguing fight. And I like that fight. Him and Figueroa is interesting because Figueroa is super durable, but he throws a lot of punches, but Bruce is a good counter punch with long arms. So I think that's an intriguing fight. I feel like Brandon could. People like to hate on Brandon, and you know, I'm not no big Brandon fan, and you know, I think Brandon has an ugly style and smothers his work, but Brandon would be a very live dog in that fight. The hard, you know, and you can call it whatever you want. I think the fight he needs to stay away from the most at featherweight is the Angelio fight. He doesn't have enough tools for that kind of a fight. Honestly, he does not. Be a good fight though. I mean, I hope it happens. I hope it happens because I want Angelo to become a unified champion. But there's a lot of things that he has not signed up on, and I don't know if the kind of things he needs to work on for that kind of fight. You don't just tighten him up in one camp. So yeah, I think Bruce. And people are gonna say, BT, you're crazy. Espinoza would do this, he would do that. I don't think Espinoza to me, he's just like, I wouldn't say I would say Espinoza and Hamza to me are the same person. They both got credit for a particular fight. They're both long as hell. They both got dense bones, but they both really not fighting no one. They're the same person to me. So I would like Bruce's chances in the Espinoza fight. Espinoza's durability is not good, guys. There's a reason why Zanfer Promotions keeps steering him away from every known puncher in the damn division. Away from Angelo, away from Venado. They're not like overly eager about Bruce. No matter what they want to say in the media, I know the truth. They're not really overly eager about Bruce. They want Espinoza to be in fights where they know he can look good and win and market him as the next face of Mexican boxing. And I like Espinoza, but I'm just telling y'all the truth. Now, Raw Dog mentioned Albert Chop Chop Gonzalez. To me, y'all asking me about all these other featherweight champions. I'm not worried about them. That's a guy that I thought for a couple of years now. I think highly of him. Good coach, well schooled, great head on his shoulders. Him and Bruce had the same record and damn near the same resume. The only difference is one guy markets himself a bit more, has a bigger social media following, so Top Rank will do more to maneuver him into positions where he can get a belt. And the other guy is not quite. He speaks, but not quite as much as Bruce. So it is what it is. It's a numbers game. You got to put asses in the seats. I understand the business, but they literally Bruce is 18-0 with, I believe, 10 knockouts. Albert 18-0 with 11 knockouts. And they both fought the same opponent. They both fought Dana Coolwell back to back. They both went the distance with Dana Coolwell. So I don't really think they're far off apart, even though Bruce is world champion. Abel Gonzalez will be on the Garcia versus Ben fight. Now that's what we need to talk about. That's another guy. You want to talk about someone who would do Hamza dirty and do him bad? That's another guy that would beat Hamza Shiraz, or at least have a chance to beat Hamza Shiraz. And a lot of these guys 68, including Diego Pacheco. Abel Gonzalez. Yes, I seen Abel Gonzalez fight many years ago. Like I'm talking about before he was even in the pros. I saw him fight in the 2017 National Golden Gloves, and he's one of the only fighters I've ever seen in person knock somebody out in the amateurs with big ass headgear on with one punch. But he can also box. And I also saw him spar cruiserweights like 7 years ago. I saw him spar like professional top 15 ranked cruiserweights, beat the shit out of them in the gym. Really good fighter, has had promotional issues. Another guy from South Florida that's getting his chance on super boxing. Hopefully he can live up to his potential in the pros. I like Abel Gonzalez, and I got a lot of time for Abel Gonzalez. Diego ducked the fight. Okay, I'll give it to you. He ducked the fight. But why? Let me ask you guys this, man, because boxing fans, you can't win with them. When a fighter fights the best and loses, y'all say he sucks and he's not that good, and you're quick to put him down. And you never, and very few fighters, unless the guys who are already big names, ever get credit for fighting, tough competition. If Diego Pacheco had a terrible performance, which he did against Sajo, and he felt like he wasn't ready, okay, he ducked the fight. Is he now within his rights to say he's not ready for that fight? Because then what? He gets knocked out against Hamza Shiraz, and then what? And then you get to say, Hyro, oh well, he ain't shit. Fuck Diego Pacheco. No, he was self-aware and was humble enough to say, you know what? There's some things I got to work on. I'm not where I need to be yet. Okay, he ducked the fight, but he's gonna fight for a world title, and it's gonna be soon. And I don't care if it's against Jaime Munguia or Shiraz. He's beating either one of them. Shushu versus Brandon Figueroa is very TNT. It's the 126 version of Roach and Zepeda. It's a good comparison. I like that fight. I don't like it as much as Angelo Leo versus Bruce, but I like that fight. I think it's a good fight. Why are we talking about Brandon Figueroa against anybody? Brandon Figueroa has a fight coming up. He got to go beat. He has to go beat Kameda, and we don't even know if he's gonna really do that. Don't sleep on Throy Kameda. Kameda was a former world champion for a reason, and he's a lot better than you think. He's definitely a lot better than I thought he was when he fought Angelo. But styles do make fights, and Brandon is bigger, so maybe he could push Kameda back. But Brandon got them long ass arms, and the Kameda gets on the inside of him. I could see a scenario where Kameda outworks him. What fight can Provox make so that Cardenas could gain more popularity? Maybe Venado. How would that go? If they could make it, I would say that fight. I love that fight. I'm very, I like Venado Lopez. I have a lot of respect for him. I have a lot of respect for Cardenas. Very, very good fighters. But for me, the two fights I feel would take Cardenas to that next level. Obviously, Junto Nakatani would take him to the next level. And then if not Junto, I feel like Sebastian Hernandez Reyes takes him to the next level as well. Those are top fights for him. And I would go as far as to say maybe even him and Bam. That'd be a big one, but I don't think any of those fights are possible. We don't know that. We know Osalisa Iglesias is the least known, but we don't know if he's the weakest. We got to see the fights. Let's just see the fights and see what happens. Well, I mean, I'm just going off of what PBC said. So if they don't happen, I'm going off of PBC said, and I'm going off of what Kameda said himself in Japan recently. PBC has said the fight's gonna happen, and Kameda himself has said the fight's gonna happen. So do I gotta? Are they lying? Are they both lying to? Are they both lying to the public? Feed Rafa to Nakano and sit in the pocket with him. Oh my god, I would love that fight because Nakano. I'll tell you this, man. Nakano is a big time puncher if you stand in front of him. But oh my god, Nakano has no footwork at all. If Rafa sit there with him, y'all gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know. I've heard multiple things, but nothing's been confirmed yet. Yes, he has. He's called out all those guys. I've gotten on Angelos about this before. I've told him that he needs to get more vocal. Sometimes you talk to these fighters and things just fall on deaf ears. So sometimes you just gotta let things be. But I've told him you gotta start talking more. So I'm doing my part as part of the team. But he has called them all out. He's called them all out in interviews. We were talking earlier about fighters that have fought back-to-back undefeated Black American fighters. He's actually one of the few fighters in boxing you can say that about, for being honest. Oh, I would love that. I want to go to that fight. I'm hoping they make that fight because I already know the Mexican boxing community. A lot of people are. I mean, obviously Pacheco's going to have his support in LA. He's going to have the support of the Mexican Americans. But man, I already know there's hella people praying on his downfall just because of those comments that he made. I'm all for it because Munguia looked great in his last fight. I got to give Munguia his credit. I've been a high Munguia hater for years, and people always like to say that, oh, BT, you're a hater of this fighter, you're a hater of that fighter. Whenever I make the slightest criticisms about where the fuck the dick riding, but one of the maybe handful of fighters that I will wear the hat and I will say, you know what, I have actually been a hater of that guy has been Haney Munguia. So, I thought he looked amazing in the Resendiz fight. I give him a lot of credit for the fight. He looked like $1 million. But Diego Pacheco is on a higher skill level than Armando Resendiz. He gonna see. That's what I've been trying to say. I'm with you, champ. Listen, everything that you're gonna say about him stirring up the pot and talking more, you don't have the slightest idea, like not even a fragment of the slightest idea of how many times I've given him that speech. So, you get to a point where it's like, you know what, do what you want. I don't know, man. I feel like if you can hit Junto on his chin, he puts his hands in his pocket. I've seen 2 straight fights where guys put hands on him or outboxed him and he put his hands in his pocket. And I know for a fact Cardenas is punching like that. I was there ringside when he almost knocked Inoue into the 10th dimension, and I was there when he knocked out last guy he fought in this last December when he knocked him out into the 15th dimension. That boy is punching like that. So I think it'd be a good fight. And Cardenas can box a little bit. I just think Cardenas needs to probably stop spamming so much with his left hook and widen his punch selection. But, these things come with time and experience and maturation. So, BT, you got hater in you. not only hate anybody, but when people say like, oh, I would say I dislike certain fighters, but now I don't really care. Like I don't actually care as much as most of you guys think. But if people were gonna say, because people have criticized you for being a Jerron Ennis hater, which I'm not. People have criticized me for being an Inoue hater, which I'm definitely not. People have criticized me for being a hater of Anthony Joshua. Um, yeah, I even got Usyk, which is funny, right? But there's only a handful of fighters where if you say, you know what, BT, you're a hater of that fighter, I'm not gonna argue with you. And that not anymore, not anymore. But that's one of the guys you could say that about is Munguia, just because it's not necessarily him. It's just more so how he's moved, the amount of fighters he's avoided, and yeah. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't care enough about Brandon Figueroa. There's not a. Let's be real, guys. Let's be real for a second. Most of these guys in boxing only fight at the most, if we're lucky, at the top level 2 times a year. Barely anybody who's a champion fights 3 times a year because everybody in the boxing is trying to calm the game and get the most with doing the little, right? Let's just be real. Let's be real about the climate of boxing, right? I don't see enough of these guys enough to hate on them. Let's be real. You didn't care for Canelo, Murataya, Munguia, Espinoza. Well, hold up, buddy. Let me slow you down there. Don't start doing your little bullshit here that you do, Raw Dog, because you like to sit here and you like to talk out of the side of your mouth and say, oh, well, you hate this Mexican fighter and you hate that Mexican. No, don't start with your bullshit, champ. You can't say that I didn't care for Rafael Espinoza when I was the only person in American boxing media who, on an English-speaking boxing channel, who interviewed Rafael Espinoza going into the first Obesi Ramirez fight where he was a 10-1 underdog. Okay, so you can't say that. And I like Espinoza. I do genuinely like him as a fighter, and I think he's a good fighter with a lot of heart, and he's good for boxing. I just don't like how he's moved, and I don't like how you guys try to tell me he's this killer, but he ain't really fighting nobody on a consistent basis to show you that he's that. That's all. I like Espinoza. Now, Murataya, all I simply did with Murataya was point out that he had some pretty dodgy performances against Zolani and Dengeni and Tevin Farmer, which he did. That's facts. But those were necessary performances. He showed himself really well in the Andy Cruz fight, and I give him his respect. Munguia, one of the most protected fighters in the whole sport, and Canelo, you know, he ducked Dave Benavidez, and he's still trying to justify ducking Dave Benavidez to this very day, and he ducked Demetrius Andre, and those things cannot be disputed or refuted. But you know, you can't fight everybody, and I've grown to appreciate Canelo in his later years. What he fought, Jermaine Ortiz, Albright, and now Devin. They fight by the end. Yeah, you're right. You're 1,000% correct. Give Key a lot of again. We're lucky if we see half these guys twice a year at the top level. He's doing it 3 times. They've all been good, credible opponents, with Devin being the best one of the 3. So respect. I got time for the businessman. I mean, personally, I know I went back and watched it. Personally, I thought it was a coin flip too, but a lot of people are saying no. Murataya beat him clearly. So you know what? Either way, I thought he fought very, very well, and he acquitted himself very nicely. And I look forward to seeing Raymond Murataya when I cover the fight in Golden Boy. To be honest, when it comes to Murataya, I wasn't really impressed with any fight he really had until the Cruz fight. I thought he just had a lot of. I would say the only fight that really, I guess you could say, impressed me was the Diego Torres fight. But like Diego Torres was, in my opinion, a tailor-made fighter. You know, Mexican fighter, front foot dominant, likes to exchange. And Raymond, to his credit, is very smart, very calculated, strong, punches in between the shots really well. But I would say Andy Cruz is the fight where I say, you know what, nah, you got to get the kid his due. You know, and I'm not against that. If you go out here and you show and prove, I'm not against giving you your due. But what I'm not gonna do is call chicken shit chicken salad, and a lot of you guys want me to do that with certain fighters, and I'm not gonna do that. Why would Munguia have Diego as a volunteer? That's dumb. You act like Munguia is a belt holder with no backing. He ain't no Kenichi Ogawa or Charles. Fair enough, Pyro. Fair enough. And he, as you and I both know, he loves to maneuver away from tough opponents. So it's very possible. But it's a marketable fight. So I think it could happen. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. You were high on Andy Cruz. I told you he's a Cuban fighter. He's going to disappoint you. And he definitely did disappoint. That is very true. But also, let's say it's not. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier about Sean James. I'm not sticking a fork in a fighter just because he had a fight where he lost. He can still come back and become champion. You didn't really see the strengths of Murataya prior to Cruz. What strengths was he showing prior to? Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. The Zolani Ndengeni fight and the Tevin Farmer fights, I would say, were the two highest level fights he had going into that fight. There weren't a ton of things to really talk great about. He looked pretty average. But again, fighters got to go through these growing pains on the way up. So I'm not credit to him. Now, is he gonna be that fighter consistently? Like, is the guy we saw in the Andy Cruz fight gonna be the Raymer? Is he gonna be that version of himself on a fight by fight basis? That remains to be seen. That's why I'm very intrigued about the Consensao fight, because Consensao has given everybody he has fought a tough fight. He gave Navarrete a tough fight. He gave Shakur fits in spots of that fight. I thought he beat Oscar Valdez. I thought he had a case to beat Navarrete. Nobody's really blown him out like that, So if Murataya can, let's say, just punch a hole through him and stop him, I think it would definitely be a statement, right? So shout out, That's what I felt. I felt like, this is what I genuinely feel about that fight, because I've had conversations with Brad Goodman from Top Rank. He came up to me and he's like, I love your channel, I love your stuff, but I didn't agree with you about the Murataya Cruz fight. But honestly, I feel like we saw Murataya not really come forward that much against Farmer, not really come forward that much against Zolani Ndengeni. And when he finally had a fight where he came forward, he kind of got some extra credit for it, in my opinion. But he did a lot of great work. I thought Andy Cruz got outworked in the fight, and Raymond punched harder than him, so that obviously played a factor too. So I'm not knocking the fight, but I do think the perception of what he was doing in previous fights compared to what he did in the Cruz fight, that played a role into the perception of that fight, in my opinion. But we'll see in the Consensao fight. We'll see if he can maintain consistency. Shout out to my friend Kira. Good to see you, Kira. He says hi from Jason. Hi from Jason and IBT. Good to see you, Kira. Hope all is well with you and the family. Thank you for your unwavering support. Yeah. You didn't see the controlling of distance, power, speed, and ring IQ. Again, I reiterate. When he fought, to be honest with you, I'm not really trying to harp on Raymond Murataya, because, again, you guys be thinking there are certain fighters that I don't really care about talking about them until they got to fight. And he's probably just one of them. He doesn't, good fighter, but he just doesn't really do much for me. I thought he lost Tevin Farmer. I thought he lost that fight, to be honest with you. I didn't even think he won that fight, for being honest. And he didn't look good against Ndengeni. Good veterans, one guy former world champion, but let's be real, he wasn't showing a whole lot. I mean, he looked better against Zalu Abdullah, but he wasn't showing a lot. And when he got a better opponent in front of him, he performed better. So maybe he's just gonna be one of those guys that when you put real threats in front of him, he fights to that level. So, but you guys, I see it all the time on Twitter, on other people's channels. You guys ask for people to be honest, and then you guys get the most honest person in boxing media, or one of the most honest people in boxing media. And then when you get it, you complain about it. So it's like I should just be fake like everybody else in boxing media. Maybe y'all be okay with it. Do I think that Albert Chop Gonzalez is ready for the top level? 1,000% he is. Yes, I do. I think he's one of the top two contenders in the entire featherweight division and all the sanctioning bodies. In terms of his actual skill level and talent, I would say him and Mirko Cuellar are like 1 and 2 for me. Those are both guys that I think deserve title shots. I think I look at Albert Gonzalez as a legitimate threat to all of the world champions, including my boy Angelo Leo. 1,000%, he's very good. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. If I'm Shakur, so Murataya has this fight coming up against he has this fight coming up against what's his name? Consensao. If Murataya looks good in that fight, he better just jump straight on it. Because if Murataya has a bad performance or goes back to like the Solani Ndengeni version of himself against Consensao, the win won't be looked at as great. You understand? Because you guys know boxing. Boxing is all about timing. You know, not just so much who you fight, but when you fight him. Did you fight a guy coming off of a loss? Did you fight a guy coming off of a controversial loss? Did you fight a guy coming off of certain events in his life that were made known to the public? Like, did you fight a guy who was weight drained? You know, a lot of these things play a role into how people perceive a fight. So if Murataya gets a good win against Consensao and that's who he plans on fighting, he better just jump on it. You know, that's how I feel. Do I think Angel Leo will fight Omar Trinidad soon? Shit, it's looking like it, to be honest with you. I mean, Omar isn't going to be handed the title shot because he has to actually become the mandatory. I'm tired of everybody asking me about Omar Trinidad. Like, I didn't know Omar Trinidad had all this buzz. I've been covering Omar Trinidad on True School Sports for like over 2 years. Nobody gave a shit about Omar Trinidad for like 2 years. Now, all of a sudden, he gets on Super one time and runs his mouth a little bit. Now people care about Omar Trinidad. But if he becomes a mandatory challenger, there's a very high possibility he will fight Angelo. But right now, he's not the mandatory challenger. He has to fight Luis Nunez, which is not going to be no easy fight. Luis Nunez can box. Luis Nunez can punch a little bit. So if he can become the mandatory challenger, I think it's a very likely fight. You know, Omar Trinidad's undefeated. He's got a good record in terms of on paper and guys he's fought. He's Mexican-American. Why not? It's a fun fight, you know? But right now, I mean, he's not going to be handed a title shot. He has to become mandatory. Oh, no, Zuffa's been great for him. He's been doing his thing on Zuffa. He had a fight scheduled with Kameda, and for some reason that fight fell out, and I haven't really heard not one iota about Cuello ever since, and that was months ago. So I never said Zolani Ntangeni was a bum. I never said that. Zolani Ntangeni is an experienced, crafty professional fighter who's been there with a lot of top fighters like Devin Haney, like Ernesto Mercado, as well as Aaron Murataya, right? I'm not saying he's a bum, but Aaron Murataya was okay. I'm so tired of talking about Aaron Murataya. Like, there's so many fighters we could be talking about, and y'all want to talk about Aaron Murataya. Aaron Murataya was built as a blue chip prospect. So I was looking at him through the lens of a blue chip prospect, and blue chip prospects dominate than getting more than he's done that night. That's why I had to say what I had to say about him. But he wanted to become champion, so obviously it was valuable experience. Oh man, are they really? He says BTB, Norman Tiger are talking about fighting on X. Who would you favor in that fight? That's a great fight. And I'm a big fan of both guys. I like both fighters a lot. I would say I'm a bigger fan of Brian Norman Jr. But putting my feelings aside, I might actually lean towards Tiger for the same reasons I lean towards Diego Pacheco in the Hamza Shiraz fight. One guy fought at a higher level in terms of his pedigree. I think Brian Norman Jr. too maybe shouldn't even be at 47. You know, he. I know he said that they had a hard time with the scales in his last fight, and he missed the 148 pounds weight limit. But I mean, you shouldn't even be coming close to missing 148 pounds, in my opinion. And I do think he doesn't have the greatest chin. So Tiger can only box. Tiger has a very good jab. Tiger has I would say better feet. I would lean towards Tiger in that fight, unbiasedly. But I would love to see Brian Norman Jr. come through that fight and win because that's one of my favorite fighters. Brian Norman Jr. is one of the reasons why I'm still covering boxing. There was no Brian Norman Jr. There probably would not be any True School Sports. I would have quit last year. So I would like Brian Norman to win, but those are my honest thoughts. The chin really worries me. Nah, man, nah. They were building him up as that. When I would talk to matchmakers, people in boxing, they would say, this guy is one of the best fighters in Robert Garcia's stable. He's this, he's that. They were like talking about him like he was blue chip. So that's kind of how I was evaluating him. Am I wrong? Are you saying that he's not blue chip? So he wasn't supposed to be champion. He wasn't these things. So you putting him down now. Why would I not like? So you're saying I'm hard on Raymond because of the guy who trains him. Why would I dislike the guy? Why would I be? I like Robert. Robert Garcia is a great coach. I had no problem with Robert Garcia. Lord knows I have no problem with his niece. Respectfully, she's a very beautiful woman. So what are you talking about? If Tiger Johnson goes in there and fights Brian Pillman Jr. and whacks him out of there and stops him, that would be a statement. That would make Devin Haney look. It would definitely garner him getting a Devin Haney fight, I think. So if they can run it, great. I would love to see it. I would favor Tiger Johnson because I think he's sharper. I don't know if his chin is worse than Norman's because Tiger, he fought Flowers who could punch, but hasn't really fought too many punchers. I would say Norman has been in more dangerous fights. He fought Santian who can punch. He fought Jitazaki who can punch. He fought Devin who can't really punch, but Devin is sharp and Devin managed to drop him early in the fight. So it's a very intriguing one. I hope it happens. BT, do you think Andy Cruz? How do I think he fights at 130? And would I favor him over any of the current champions? You got Kakachi, you got Shock Foster, and you got Vaquero. So I wouldn't favor him over. I wouldn't favor him over Vaquero. Doesn't have enough volume. Doesn't punch hard enough. I think Shock Foster could actually be a good fight. I think he could win that fight, but I don't think it happens. And then I would say obviously his best bet would be going the Kakachi route, but Kakachi's actually better than people think. Keyshawn versus Devin is a good fight, but I wish this was in the ESPN or Top. Me too. I met Christina Ramirez at the Amari Jones fight. She's hella fine. You said it, champ. You said it, and I concur, my friend. I definitely concur. She's a very nice person, and God bless her. That's where I feel like if Norman make it a fight where he can get on the inside, make Tiger square up a bit, put that weight on him, then I think you're gonna have a really interesting affair there. But if it becomes a fight where Tiger can be at the mid range, be on the outside, dictate with his feet, get off first, make Brian Norman miss, make him pay, then it's gonna be it could be even more. Because see, one big difference between Tiger Johnson and Devin Haney is if Tiger counters you and he hits you, he's not going to counter and then just move. He's going to counter and throw 4 or 5. He'll put 4 or 5 punches together. And that could be where, a guy like Brian Norman gets stopped. So you said it, not me, Shep. I'm not touching that one. Do you have an official prediction for Spence versus Tim? I got Spence. So when the fight first got signed, I was saying Tim Tszyu was going to win. I like Tim. I think Tim's been very active, but Tim's taking a lot of punishment, and Spence has taken punishment too. But Spence hasn't fought in 3 years, so I can't believe I'm saying this, and this might age very bad because Tim Tszyu, when he fights in Australia, I don't know what it is about Australia, but he be doing fools dirty in Australia. So I might come to regret this, but I actually have Errol Spence on points. There's levels, man. And I think Ronnie Shields is gonna have him right. I think they could fight, but I wouldn't call it feeding. Sugar Nunez is good, but they're not so far apart where I would say I wouldn't use the word feed. Oh man, they're not drug test. Oh Lord, you know what? I'm gonna retract my pick. Then I don't got no pick. I'm not gonna make a pick for that fight. Tim Tszyu, when he fights I'm not trying to accuse anybody of steroids, but if you're telling me they're not drug testing, and I've seen Tim Tszyu do some disgusting things to guys in Australia and American fighters too, good fighters, Tony Harrison, Brian Mendoza, when he was at the top of his game, he's done guys dirty in Australia. So you know what? I'm not gonna make no pick. I'm just gonna enjoy the fight. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy the fight, and we'll just see what happens. BT, do you see that Kelly versus Aryaka will switch to a mandatory defense? Did I see that? Wasn't it always a mandatory defense? I could have sworn it was already a mandatory defense because wasn't I could be wrong, but wasn't Aryaka versus Brandon Adams supposed to be an eliminator? I could be wrong, but I feel like it was supposed to be an eliminator fight. But shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. I appreciate everybody rocking with me. Shout out to Rick Glaser earlier. Shout out to everybody who's been, fervently and diligently over the years and over the days this year, of course, supporting the channel. Things are we're in a bit of a chill period right now. We're in a chill period here on True School Sports, but business is about to pick up. It's about to pick up starting, Tuesday, Wednesday. Fight week for Zepeda Roach. So make sure y'all definitely tune in. Definitely keep it locked. Keep supporting. To be honest with you, if it wasn't for the fact that Eddie Hearn signed Raymond Ford straight from the amateurs, I think he would have already cut him, to be honest. Boxing is cruel. And these promoters these days, they don't care. They don't care. Top Rank only has like 28 fighters on the roster, less than 30. And they cut a lot of guys. They cut undefeated guys, talented fighters, contenders. Is Berlanga getting the knockout this weekend? I think so, but I do put some stock into what Rick Glaser said earlier. Stephen Butler can't do a ton, but he can punch. And Edgar better not get caught. He gets caught, he gonna be seeing stars. So I'll say Edgar wins, but I'm not like ultra confident. I feel like one thing I know about boxing. Boxing is jealous. Boxing's a jealous woman. And I'm not saying Edgar doesn't work hard, but when you over here doing music and being a reggaeton artist, dale baby mama, all that blase. When you're doing all that, and you still get caught up outside the ring with other stuff that has nothing to do with boxing, I mean, it shows up in the ring. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what the truth is come fight night. Harold says, you always talk about Najee Lopez and Latif Overton, but never talk about Dante Benjamin. Well, maybe I got to go interview Dante Benjamin. You've been on my head about interviewing certain guys. By the way, Harold, the guy that you wanted me to interview that hasn't fought in 3 years, he saw my message and he just decided to not respond and go on with his life. So he actually declined the True School Sports interview, just so you know. So that interview probably will not be happening because he has not responded. And he's seen it like 12 hours ago. He said, no, originally it was a voluntary. Now the winner won't have to fight Bakram next, so they can go straight to unification. Well, I know they all love that. We all know how these fighters get when it comes to Bakram. They say he's basic. They say he's this. They say he's that. But they don't really sign a contract to fight him. So it is what it is there. So I'm sure everyone's thrilled about that. So the winner of that fight will fight Boots. Could you imagine if Aryaka wins and then Boots fights Kyle Meat Aryaka? Could you imagine Eddie Hearn selling that fight? They better just Kelly better just handle his business because Aryaka is cool, but I mean I've watched Aryaka fight. I don't even think Aryaka. Who was the guy that Aryaka fought on short notice that people thought beat him? What was that guy's name? Black British dude that fought him. He has like no amateur experience, and a lot of people thought that he was putting hands on Aryaka. What was the guy's name? I mean, I'm sure that they put him in there with the intention to win, but Berlanga doesn't have a great chin, and this guy can really, really punch. So therefore, it's not out the question. Berlanga is going to have to show some levels this week, if that's really the case. Yes, Ishmael Davis is who I'm speaking about. Ishmael Davis is the guy I'm talking about. Yeah, Agyarko, a lot of people thought that, Ishmael Davis beat Agyarko. And Ishmael Davis has fought a lot of guys. And they thought that who was the other guy? He fought another guy too. What was it, Kelly? I forgot who it was, but he fought a couple guys where he's been right there with them, and he just hasn't got the decision. Why do I want Virgil to go to 160? Because he's dragging his feet at 154. I mean, you can go to 160, get an easy title, and I really feel like I think so highly of Virgil Ortiz's talent level and level of excitement as a fighter that I think he will single-handedly revive the excitement levels in the 160 division if he goes up there. Why not? It's not like you're in a rush to fight Jerron Ennis. We've been here for like 2 years now. You ain't fought Fedora. Well, he's had a couple of short notice fights. I know Ishmael Davis has had a couple of short notice fights because he's a guy that the promoters don't really care about. Who? Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. Nobody's ducking Virgil Ortiz. He could have fought Xander Zayas, and if he would have fought Xander Zayas and beat him, you would have never had to have heard about Xander Zayas being champion. He turned down the Xander fight to fight freaking the Can Madrimov, and you see that did nothing for his career. And then Rick Marigan tried to pull some slick shit and cut Oscar out of the deal. That didn't work out, and Virgil lost damn near a year of his career. So I mean, you can't say everybody's ducking it when he turned down certain fights and then his manager went off his rocker. You can't do that. Yeah, Ishmael Davis fights everybody. He gives people some smoke. Like, I got respect for him. If Kameda wins the title, I think you will see Inoue at 126 really soon. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I would like to think that would happen, but I also know how much the Kamedas are hated in Japan, and I know how much Mr. Honda is a super serious businessman, and Mr. Honda loves to have control of everything, and he wouldn't have full control of that promotion. 3150 ain't no Ricky Think promotion. They doing their own thing, and they're doing okay for themselves. So I don't know. I would like to think so because it's Japanese versus Japanese, but I have to see it to believe it. That's one of them fights where I will have to legitimately see it to believe it. But what I can't tell you is this: shit, if he win another belt, maybe Angelo fight him again. That could be a rematch unification fight. We try to do a rematch unification fight with, the guy who can't make weight today, but he decided to go to 130. So it is what it is. He should be Fedor's mandatory. He basically is. He's greater than the mandatory. He's the damn interim champion. That's better than the mandatory. So if he's not getting the fight, what that means is Rick Marigan ain't putting his foot down. Rick Marigan ain't really trying to get the Fedora fight like they're acting like they say in the media, because the interim champion supersedes the mandatory. So I mean, it is what it is. I feel like Virgil Ortiz is an amazing fighter, great talent, but the other parts of his career are not on one accord. But guys, on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm gonna wrap it up because what is it? It's like 1:38 in the morning. So I'm gonna wrap it up. What's today? The 24th. So yeah, I'm not sure if there'll be a live tomorrow, but if there's no live tomorrow, you can definitely expect one after the Tim Tszyu Errol Spence fight. Right after it, I'll be awake. I'm gonna stay awake. I'm gonna watch the whole card. I'm really excited about it. And then you got the Zuffa card, so expect a live after that fight as well. And yeah, we're just going to keep things going. We're going to keep things going on True School Sports, even if guys like Raw Dog says I'm a hater. But see, Raw Dog only says I'm a hater when I say good things about Pacheco or anybody who's Mexican American. You say I know what I'm talking about. When I don't agree with you, now I'm a hater. So that just shows, your level of sensitivity And it's okay. I'm used to boxing fans being sensitive to certain things that I say about their favorite fighters, and it is what it is. But nonetheless, you guys take care. God bless, and I will see you in the next live.